trying to mask his growing panic. Rosalind took a step closer, her voice cold and commanding. Let's not waste time. Tell me immediately, where are your main forces right now, and is our young Master Rain safe? Before he could respond, she struck him mercilessly. You dare hesitate, until you answer me. I will keep beating you. Castile groaned in pain but remained defiant. Wait, I'll tell you, he gasped. Our main troops, they were completely annihilated by Rain's forbidden magic. They're all burning alive, trying to regain some control over the situation. He straightened himself and sneered. Look, girl, you cannot kill me just like that. I am Grand Duke Castile. I may be your enemy, but you have no right to execute me like this. Rosalind's expression darkened with fury. You insolent fool. Do you take me for an idiot? Do you really think I would believe such nonsense? Her eyes narrowed as she turned to her soldiers. Keep beating this scum until he tells us the truth. If he still refuses to speak, I want to see how long he can endure. Later, Rosalind entered the camp and inquired whether Castile had revealed anything or if he was still lying to them. One of the soldiers reported that Castile was incredibly resilient. Despite being beaten like a dog, he remained adamant in his claim that he was the Grand Duke Castile. He continuously insisted that he had arrived with an army of 100,000 soldiers, but their young master, Rain, had used a forbidden spell against them, leaving him as the sole survivor. Frustrated, Rosalind slammed her fist on the table and exclaimed that she was losing her patience. She ordered her men to resume the beating until Castile confessed the truth. She also instructed them to prepare for departure, as they would soon set off for the borders. She expressed her growing concern that young Master Rain might be in danger due to Castile's lies. They could not afford any delays in reaching the borders. One of the soldiers immediately acknowledged her command and assured her that he would notify everyone to prepare for departure. As Rosalind stepped outside, she reflected on the information Castile had given them. He had claimed that the enemy had built a bridge over the moat to attack the border fortress. She considered using the bridge to reach young Master Rain more quickly. However, she realized that infiltrating the fortress with so few soldiers would be extremely difficult. She concluded that in order to win, they needed to lure the enemy outside the fortress, after which she could collaborate with Nox to defeat them. If Castile's claim about the bridge was true, it would be a significant advantage, allowing them to reach the borders swiftly. While deep in thought, Rosalind noticed someone approaching and immediately alerted her men to prepare for an enemy attack. The soldiers raised their shields to protect her and warned the intruder that attacking them would be futile. As they were the most vigilant soldiers in the world, they asserted that as long as they were there, the enemy had no chance of launching a successful assault. As the figures came into view, Rosalind was shocked to realize that they belonged to the Elf Kingdom. She began to suspect that the elves had allied with the Orvis Empire forces to attack young Master Rain. If that were the case, it would mean great danger for him. Rosalind voiced her suspicions, stating that she had always known the elves were despicable, but she had not expected them to stoop so low as to ally with the Orvis Empire army to attack them. She expressed her deep disappointment in them. However, Alfiria, an elf, dismissed Rosalind's accusations, stating that they were not there to attack anyone. She revealed that young Master Rain had invited their queen for a meeting, and they were only there because of his summons. Rosalind, still skeptical, questioned the legitimacy of their claim. She accused them of fabricating stories, asserting that every visitor to the camp had been lying. First, a strange man had appeared, claiming to be the Grand Duke Castile, and now the elves were claiming that young Master Rain had summoned them. She sarcastically suggested that if they truly wanted to deceive her, they should at least come up with a more convincing lie. She remained convinced that the elves were in league with the Orvis Empire forces. Infuriated, Alfiria retorted that they were not ordinary elves but noble elves. She reprimanded Rosalind for insulting them without cause, and in anger, commanded her archers to prepare for battle. She declared that it seemed necessary to teach Rosalind and her people a lesson. Rosalind remarked that she had expected this outcome. I knew you wouldn't be able to keep up the act for long, she said. Now you're showing your true colors. She then instructed soldiers to hold onto his shield tightly. These elves have only one primary attack strategy, using arrows. Apart from that, they can't do much. At that moment, the Elf Queen used her magic to create a wall between them. Elf Queen addressed Rosalind, saying, Calm down, little girl. We didn't come here of our own free will. We have a reason for being here. The city lord, young Master Rain, sent us a letter inviting us for a business discussion. That is the only reason we are here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have bothered coming at all. She further explained, if you are an ally of Rain, there's no need for us to fight. But if you are his enemy, then go ahead and complete your battle. We will wait until it's over. Either way, we have no reason to engage in a fight. It will benefit neither you nor us. Rosalind, still skeptical, questioned them. You claim that young Master Rain invited you here, but he wouldn't have personally come to extend the invitation. What proof do you have that he sent for you? At her words, the Elf Queen turned to one of her subordinates. Era, show them the letter, she instructed. Era held up the letter and said, This is the letter we received from young Master Rain. Rosalind examined the symbol on the letter and thought to herself, this really is young Master Rain's letter. The symbol belongs to the Edgar family and is created using a special kind of magic. No matter how powerful a magician is, they cannot replicate it. Still cautious, Rosalind said, Until I meet young Master Rain myself, I will only tentatively believe your words. However, I will not allow you to go to him alone. Some of my people will accompany you and keep watch throughout the journey." The Elf Queen nodded in agreement. "That's fine with us. Your caution benefits both sides. This way, neither of us will have doubts about the other." After concluding the discussion with the elves, Rosalind turned to her people and instructed, "Go and rest. We will proceed according to the plan we had already made. There will be no changes." She then gave a direct command to one of her subordinates, "Keep a close watch on these elves. If you notice anything suspicious, report it to me immediately." The soldier responded promptly, "Yes, miss. We have been keeping a special eye on them, especially the one who can use magic." Meanwhile, on the other side, Alfiria expressed her frustration. The letter was written so politely, yet the moment we step onto their land, they refuse to trust us. "Do you really think we can conduct business with such unreliable people? This seems like nothing but a waste of time." Elf Queen stated firmly that she had said it before and would say it again. Humans had a natural tendency to distrust others. She remarked, if they trusted people so easily, they wouldn't be human in the first place. At the same time, she pondered to herself, "I hope this man named Rain does not disappoint us. When I first heard about him, I arrived here with high expectations. But now, his behavior is making me doubtful. If this man, Rain, tries to deceive us, it will not end well for him." Meanwhile, Rosalind had already begun moving toward the border with her army. A soldier reported to her that the fortress at the border still bore the flag of the Edgar family, and there was no sign of the enemy empire's banner. He added, "If the opposing empire has truly conquered this place, why haven't they changed the flag?" Rosalind found his words logical and thought to herself, "That does make sense. The first thing any victorious army does is replace the enemy's flag with their own. Could this mean that the man we captured was telling the truth all along? Even after enduring so much torture, he never once changed his statement. He held on to his words until the very end." However, she shook off these thoughts, realizing she had no time to dwell on them. "I will learn the truth once I reach young Master Rain. Until then, I cannot afford any delays." Determined, Rosalind commanded, "Raise our flag immediately. Whether it's young Master Rain's people or the enemy empire's soldiers, they must know that reinforcements have arrived from Miss Priscia's territory in support of young Master Rain. Once everyone crosses the bridge, do not stop under any circumstances. Keep advancing towards the city at full speed. We must reach it by nightfall. Remember, any delay could put young Master Rain's life in even greater danger." Meanwhile, at the fortress, Rain stood among the fallen soldiers, surveying the aftermath of the battle. He reflected, "I had such a great opportunity to turn 100,000 men into laborers. They would have worked for free and accelerated our growth significantly. But instead, they were all killed for nothing." Watching his troubled expression, Leah thought to herself, young Master Rain truly is a kind-hearted person. Most people would celebrate after defeating their enemies, but he feels sorrow even for those who came to attack him. Trying to console him, Leah said, "Master Rain, there's no need to feel so bad about this. What you did was necessary and completely justified. These people came to attack us. They got what they deserved." Rain clarified that she had misunderstood him. He wasn't feeling sad because of the soldiers at all. Before Rain could finish explaining, a soldier approached him with urgent news. He reported that a cavalry was advancing from the same direction as the Orvis Empire's army. What was unusual, however, was that they were carrying the Second Lady's flag. Because of this, they couldn't tell whether these newcomers were allies or enemies. Soon, it was revealed that the cavalry was from Rosalind's, and they had brought Elf Queen with them. As soon as Rain saw her, he invited the group into the meeting hall to discuss important matters. There, Rain presented his entire vision. He explained how he planned to establish major industries within the city, industries that would create numerous job opportunities and secure a better, more comfortable future for everyone. Rain confidently stated that their Essling city would one day become the financial capital of the entire continent. But in order to make that dream a reality, he needed Elf Queen's support. He proposed that if the elves invested in this project, they too would be recognized as one of the founding builders of this legendary city. Not only would they share in the credit, but they would also earn significant profits from the endeavor. He pointed out that there were many sectors in which the elves could thrive and bring in remarkable benefits. However, Elf Queen remained unconvinced. She admitted Rain's business plan was fascinating, but said it was completely useless from the perspective of the elves. She explained that her people had lived in harmony with nature for generations. The kind of industries Rain envisioned didn't align with their way of life. Even without modern advancements, their lives were rich, meaningful, and fulfilling. So why should they invest in something that contradicted everything they valued? Rain tried to persuade her. He said that if she believed the elves wouldn't benefit from industry, she was mistaken. Needs weren't always born out of necessity. They were often created. Clothes, for instance, didn't exist at one point in history, but today no one could imagine going outside without them. He argued that once new industries were established, they would become indispensable. People's needs would evolve with innovation. The Elf Queen responded, saying that while humans might place value on many material things, the elves did not share those views. She admitted that they could invest in Rain's project, but her biggest fear was not the industry itself, it was the human mindset. She reminded Rain that humans had an endless hunger for power, and that desire had already destroyed many kingdoms. Humankind was destroying itself through conflict and ambition. Rain acknowledged her concern. He agreed that countless kingdoms had fallen due to the lust for power. However, he argued that desire itself wasn't inherently wrong. It was that same desire that had led to progress. He gave examples. The desire to fly gave birth to helicopters and airplanes. The desire to swim underwater like fish led to submarines. And the dream of exploring the universe resulted in the invention of spacecraft. Rain told her she might not understand him now, but the day would come when they'd both stand atop the tallest building in the city. On that day, looking out at the world they had created, she would realize how much they had changed it for the better. She would see how far civilization had advanced, and understand how many lives had become more comfortable, all because of her decision. In silent contemplation, Elf Queen was lost in thought, trying to understand what exactly Lord Rain meant by planes and submarines. She remarked that the confidence Rain carried was rare, something only a handful of people possessed. What impressed her the most was that his desires didn't lean toward destruction, but toward growth and progress. Still, she reminded him that elves were not known for their desires. For thousands of years, they had learned to suppress them in order to live in harmony with nature. Perhaps that was why they had remained so peaceful. Despite this, she admitted to herself that one thing Rain said struck her deeply. What he proposed could greatly benefit their clans. Rain responded with enthusiasm. Yes, the profits from this will be extraordinary. I know what I'm saying might be hard to believe right now, but give it a chance, invest in it, you'll see the future change before your eyes. Hearing him talk about changing the future left the Elf Queen in shock. Just days ago, she had foreseen a vision in her future orb that showed the destruction of the elves. But in that same vision, there had also been a faint hope. If she allied with the right person, the future could still be changed. And now, Rain had spoken the exact same words. The future can change. Elf Queen then told him, everything you've shared with me today, I will discuss it with my clan. Once we've made a decision, I'll let you know. Rain nodded and said, I still hope your people will choose to invest. It's going to be good for everyone. Then he turned to Leah, and instructed her to bring the item. Moments later, Leah returned and handed the Elf Queen a document. She examined it with curiosity and asked, what is this? Rain explained, it's a VIP invitation. We recently built a dam in our city, and we're holding a grand opening ceremony. I'd like to invite you personally. There, you'll catch a glimpse of the immense benefits that industrial development can bring. It'll be your first look at the future we're trying to build. Meanwhile, Rosalind was sitting alone in a hall, waiting. She thought to herself, young Master Rain has kept me sitting here for an entire day. Reflecting on recent events, she admitted she had been of no help to him during the war. That failure had only made it harder for her to regain his trust. I don't even know if he still trusts me. And if he doesn't, how will I protect my family now? She sighed, thinking about all the foolish decisions she'd made before arriving here. The scene then shifted to the events of the previous day. Rosalind had been leading her cavalry toward the Essling city. As they rode, one of her men reported, young Master Rain is completely unharmed. He was spotted near the border fortress just a short while ago. Rosalind was stunned. It's strange. The Orvis Empire had launched a massive attack using an entire battalion of soldiers, and yet, not a single scratch was inflicted on the city. It seems those rumors about young Master Rain were all true. She recalled hearing that Rain had a magician by his side capable of using forbidden spells. That magician had been continuously aiding him. Whatever the case, I have to reach young Master Rain as soon as possible. I've already delayed long enough. As soon as Rosalind reached the border, she went straight to meet Rain. She introduced herself, saying that she had been sent by Miss Prisha to help them. Her name, she explained, was Rosalind Holker. She admitted that she had arrived quite late and told Rain that she was ready to accept any punishment he deemed fit. Rain asked her, so, my sister sent you here to assist us? Rosalind confirmed respectfully, yes, young master, she did. Rain raised a suspicious question. If my sister sent you to help, then why did you arrive from the direction the Orvis Empire's army came from? Rosalind explained that 3 days ago, Miss Prisha had ordered her to rescue Rain. She assumed that the Orvis Empire had used 100,000 to attack him, believing Rain had already been captured. She thought directly approaching the city would be pointless. Instead, she decided to target the enemy camp, launching a surprise attack and destroying their food supplies to create disruption from their side. Rain was intrigued. You mean to say you reached here from my sister's territory in just 3 days? As far as I know, the route is long and difficult. There's not even a railway track built between the two territories yet. So how did you manage to come this fast? Shocked, Rosalind asked. Young master, what's a railway? Rain quickly brushed it off. No, it's nothing. I just meant that you worked really hard to get here. Rosalind responded with loyalty. It was my duty, Master Rain. The Holker family has always stood ready to serve our lords. I still can't believe my foolish uncle tried to attack you. It was shameful. Rain asked. You said your name is Rosalind Holker. Are you from the same family as Caesar Holker? Rosalind replied. Yes, master, I am Caesar Holker's niece. I beg you, please give our family another chance. You can punish me in any way you wish. I won't complain, but please forgive my family. They are truly loyal. The scene then shifted back to the present. Rosalind was deep in thought, recalling that Rain hadn't responded to her plea, and hadn't come to see her since. Just then, Rain approached her after wrapping up his meeting. Looking at Rosalind, he said, it seems I made you wait longer than I should have, but there's no need for you to be so nervous. Relax and take a seat. I've come here to propose a deal. Rosalind immediately responded, tell me, young master, I'm ready to do anything for you. At the same time, she thought to herself, this must be it. Young Master Rain is giving me an opportunity to prove how loyal the Holker family truly is. I cannot afford to waste this chance. Rain expressed his admiration, saying that Miss Roslin's tactics and judgment on the battlefield had deeply impressed him. As a knight, he truly believed she was extraordinary. At the same time, he was thinking to himself how remarkable Roslin's stats were, just as incredible as her loyalty, which stood at a perfect 100. She was exactly the kind of person he needed to complete his mission. Rain then pointed out that if she had wanted, she could have simply joined their army directly and taken a much easier and safer route to fight their enemies. But instead, she had used her intelligence and launched an attack straight on the enemy's camp, a move that was both extremely dangerous and bold. He told her that such a risky operation required not only great courage but also exceptional talent, and in his opinion, Roslin had both in abundance. Roslin replied modestly, thanking young Master Rain for his kind words. She said she had only done her duty. Then Rain asked her, Miss Roslin, would you be willing to be mine? Roslin blushed and responded hesitantly, saying she understood he might still be angry at her family, the Holkers, because of their past behavior. To earn his forgiveness, she said, she would do anything, even if he desired her body. She would not object. Shocked, Rain quickly interrupted her. Roslin, wait a second. I think you've completely misunderstood what I meant. I never intended to use you like that. In fact, I hadn't even thought of such things. Falling to her knees, Roslin said tearfully, Young Master Rain, it has always been my dream to serve you as a knight, and if the only way to make up for our family's wrongs is to offer my body, I have no complaints. It would still make me happy just to serve you in any way I can. Rain firmly clarified, Roslin, you've misunderstood me again. What I said was that I want you to work alongside me as my ally. Still confused, Roslin asked, Young Master Rain, what exactly do you mean? I don't understand. Rain calmly explained, the one who committed the crimes was Caesar Holker, and he has already received his punishment. I'm fully aware that your Holker family had no involvement in his actions, so there's nothing for your family to worry about. As for you, I want to ask if you'd be willing to work under me as a knight. He continued, Roslin Holker, I want to make you my right hand, so tell me, will you join my army and lead it as a gate commander? Roslin, still blushing, began to reflect. I completely misunderstood young Master Rain. I thought he only wanted to use my body, but the whole time, he just wanted me to serve as a knight. That's always been my dream, to work for him, and today, he's giving me the chance to live that dream. With renewed determination, Roslin looked up and said, Young Master Rain, to serve as your knight would be the greatest honor of my life. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Later, Rain was seen back in his office, writing a letter to his sister, Prisha. In the letter, he informed her that Essling City was now completely safe and that they had easily defeated the army from Grand Duke Castile. He also mentioned that Roslin had contributed immensely to the war effort and proved herself to be an exceptional knight. He wrote that he wished for Roslin to continue working under him, and with her permission, remain in their city permanently. Handing the letter to Leah, Rain said, Please deliver this to my second sister, and also make sure she receives the invitation for our dam's opening ceremony. I want her to come and visit our city. Leah nodded and said, Of course, young master, I'll take care of everything. Meanwhile, Rain reflected to himself, I've finally made some real progress on my mission. I've already secured one of the 5 individuals I need, and soon enough, I'll find the remaining 4. Then Leah asked, By the way, young master, you haven't mentioned what should be done with Grand Duke Castile. Ever since we captured him, you haven't gone to visit even once. Rain admitted he had completely forgotten about Castile and asked if she knew where he was now. Leah informed him that Castile was currently imprisoned in the dungeon of Essling City. Meanwhile, Rain arrived to confront Grand Duke Castile. As he entered, he remarked, Grand Duke Castile, we meet again. But this time, things are quite different from before, aren't they? Castile responded coldly, telling Rain, jump around and celebrate as much as you want. Your lucky days are about to come to an end. Angered by the cryptic threat, Rain demanded, What exactly do you mean? Grand Duke Castile, you're locked up in my city's prison. Your life depends entirely on my decisions. And yet, you're the one telling me my days are numbered. Have you gone mad sitting in that cell? But Castile calmly replied, It seems your father never told you the truth. Do you know about forbidden mages? They're rare and extremely powerful. If one ever participates in a war, the destruction is unimaginable. Just like what happened in this one. He continued, That's why it's forbidden for them to take part in battle. No one is allowed to use a forbidden mage. Yet, we all saw what happened on the battlefield. You used one. You broke a massive rule, Rain, and now, forbidden mages from across the continent will come after you. They'll hunt down every last member of the Edgar family. None of you will be spared. Rain, trying to piece things together, asked sharply, Forbidden mage? Are you talking about Selena? Castile scoffed at the suggestion. Selena? No, she's just a high-level mage. I'm referring to the forbidden mage, who with a single spell, reduced my entire army of 100,000 soldiers to dust. Don't even try to deny it. We all saw the kind of power that only a forbidden mage could wield. Rain defended himself, saying, So you really think I used a forbidden mage? The truth is, I only used some barrels of oil. That explosion you witnessed was caused by that. If you think that was a forbidden spell, then let me tell you something. I can create thousands of such forbidden spells if I want. A real forbidden mage needs time to recover after casting a spell, but I have no such restrictions. I can trigger explosions like that back to back if I feel like it. Castile wasn't convinced. Say whatever you want, but I know you used the powers of a forbidden mage. The scale of destruction you caused couldn't have happened without it. You broke the rules, Rain, and now, you must face the consequences. Rain sighed in frustration. Trying to explain things to you is like banging my head against a rock, whether I used oil or a forbidden mage. What difference does it make? The only thing that matters is that you've lost. That's the end of it. He paused and then added, but I didn't come here to waste time arguing. I came to ask you something important. Tell me quickly, who was the mastermind behind this entire plan? Who ordered you to do all of this? Castile said nervously. What do you mean? There's no mastermind behind me. Our empire's people are powerful and fearless. We don't need a reason to attack anyone. We just do it. Rain, calm but cutting, replied. You're terrible at lying. Your excuses are so pathetic. They're actually funny. He added that after arriving in the region, the first thing he had done was study their records. From those, he learned that every spring, Castile's army approached their borders and provoked them into conflict. There were times when your forces even defeated everyone at our borders, and yet, you never occupied our territory. You just destroyed what you could and left. Isn't it obvious? You had a bigger reason behind all of this. Rain explained that if a commander constantly attacks only to withdraw, there are usually two possible explanations. Either the leader is insane or he's hiding something very significant. And judging by your face, you clearly aren't crazy. So why don't you just tell me the truth? Castile sneered and replied, honestly, we just enjoyed killing your people, and what would we even gain by owning such a poor region? That's why we left every time. We only attacked to show off our strength. Rain, unconvinced, challenged him. Were you really showing off? Or were you testing something on my people? Hearing this, Castile suddenly looked nervous. He stammered. What are you trying to say? As Rain walked away, he said coldly, seems like you're not understanding my words right now. A few days in prison might help you reflect. I'm sure you'll eventually get what I mean. As Rain stepped out, he couldn't shake off the strange feeling he had about the city. Why did Castile wreak so much havoc here? I have to find out what really happened, because I'm certain Castile's secrets are connected to this city's future. Rain knew he had more important matters to attend to, like developing the local industries. If people don't have jobs, they'll walk down the wrong path. That's why creating employment must be my top priority. 3 days later, scene shifted to Prisha Edgar. Prisha had just received a letter from Rain. Reading it, she smirked and said, looks like my brother has taken a liking to that foolish Willis Holker's daughter, and if he likes her, then I guess there's no problem. She turned to Gwen and said, go tell Willis he's really lucky. Because of his daughter, his entire Holker family was spared. She paused, then added excitedly, Rain sent me an invitation to the dam opening ceremony. Do you know what a dam even is? I've never heard of such a thing before. Gwen replied politely, I'm sorry, miss. I don't know much about it either. Our young master Rain has extraordinary wisdom. We can't really think at his level. Prisha nodded and said, well, if this is something new, then I definitely have to see it. Besides, I've been wanting to meet Rain. The ceremony is a good excuse. Gwen smiled and said, all right, miss, I'll begin preparations. Prisha chuckled to herself and said, my brother's grown up now, and he's finally showing interest in girls. Here's an idea. Gather some beautiful girls. I want to see what kind of girls my brother is into. The scene then shifted to the royal palace of the Orvis Empire. Inside the royal court, the nobles were engaged in a heated discussion about Duke Castile's capture. One of them expressed deep concern, saying that the fall of the Castile had severely demoralized their army. But more importantly, Castile held many of their secrets. If those were to be leaked, the consequences could be disastrous. Another noble spoke up in frustration, wondering aloud why Castile had gone to war alone in the first place. He questioned who could have ordered such a reckless move. The emperor finally interrupted the bickering. There's no point in assigning blame now. It doesn't matter why Castile did what he did, or who told him to do it. I'm not here to blame anyone for his capture. What matters is what we're going to do now that he's been caught. I don't want any more useless arguments in my court. A court member proposed sending envoys to Essling City for negotiations, believing that if they could strike a deal, it would be the best possible outcome. However, 2 other nobles immediately dismissed the idea with scorn. What nonsense! You expect the great nobles of the Orvis Empire to negotiate with those filthy insects from Caradorial Empire? That would be the ultimate disgrace. Those wretches belong under our feet, not seated at the same table as us. Sending envoys would be like kneeling before the Caradorial Empire, and that will never happen. We will not humiliate ourselves. Another noble, more level-headed, tried to bring everyone back to reality. This is not the time to think about pride. You all know how many of our secrets Castile is carrying. If even one of them gets out, the efforts we've made for years will be completely ruined. Right now, the real issue isn't Castile himself, it's the secrets he holds. If we have to bow our heads to protect them, then so be it. Your Majesty, I believe we should send a negotiation party. Please advise us on the next steps. The emperor nodded thoughtfully. I also agree that negotiation is the right approach, but the real question is, who should we send? Does anyone here have a suggestion? He continued, whoever we send cannot be just anyone. This person must have significant status within the empire. If we send someone unimportant, the people of Essling City will think we're not taking the negotiations seriously, and they'll fall apart before they even begin. He emphasized 2 more qualities the envoy must possess. Aside from high status, the person must be courageous and extremely intelligent. We can't afford to send someone who'll end up trapping us during negotiations instead of helping. Among the group, one man silently reflected that negotiations were usually straightforward. Even if the talks failed, the envoy wouldn't be in much danger, but he could tell that the emperor was implying something deeper. The way he laid out the requirements made it clear. He already had someone in mind. The man understood the hint. So, that's who you want to send, Your Majesty, he thought. Just then, the emperor looked at Clevin and said, your expression tells me you've already thought of the right person for the job, so, why don't you go ahead and tell us, who should we send for the negotiation? Clevin stepped forward and responded confidently, Your Majesty, based on the qualities you've outlined, I believe there's one person who is absolutely perfect for this task, Duke Richard's only daughter, Miss Vilvina. His suggestion sent a wave of shock through the court. One of the nobles exclaimed in disbelief, Clevin, have you lost your mind? Miss Vilvina's father, Duke Richard, is currently imprisoned for his involvement in a land scandal not long ago, and you're suggesting we send the daughter of a criminal as our envoy. But the emperor sat quietly, thinking to himself, you truly are clever, Clevin. Among everyone in this court, you're the only one who always understands my intentions. Then, aloud, he asked, Clevin, what are your reasons for recommending the daughter of a criminal for such an important mission? Clevin answered calmly, Your Majesty, I have 3 reasons for choosing Miss Vilvina. First, she's the only daughter of Duke Richard, which means her social status is equivalent to that of a duke. Sending her would clearly demonstrate that the Orvis Empire is taking these negotiations very seriously. He continued, second, Miss Vilvina is over 18, strikingly beautiful, and equally intelligent. She possesses all the qualities that an envoy should have, both charm and sharp wit. And finally, no one else will carry out this task with the same dedication as her. For everyone else, this is just another assignment, but for Vilvina, it's a rare opportunity. If she succeeds in negotiating well in Essling City, her father might be released, and their family's reputation and position could be restored. No matter what happens, she'll give everything she has to save her father. That's why I believe there is no better candidate for this mission. The nobles began murmuring among themselves. One of them nodded and said, everything Lord Clevin said makes sense. Honestly, now even I feel that there's no one better suited for this job than Miss Vilvina. The emperor agreed, very well, Clevin, I'm entrusting this responsibility to you. Make sure Miss Vilvina remains safe during this mission. You know how dangerous it is to enter the territory of a rival empire. Ensure she returns unharmed. Clevin bowed respectfully, yes, Your Majesty, I understand. As he turned away, he thought to himself, forgive me, Miss Vilvina. Today, your fate has been decided by this court. The scene then transitioned to later that day. After the court meeting had ended, the emperor had summoned someone to his private study. Speaking in a low voice, he said, Castile and Vilvina will be returning soon. You already know what must be done when that happens. A shadowy figure stepped forward. It was an assassin. He replied with a smirk, yes, Your Majesty, you can relax. Castile and Vilvina will not return alive from the Caradorial Empire the moment they leave Essling City. I'll take them out. The emperor nodded with a cruel smile. Until now, we've had no proper justification to wage war against them. But if our Grand Duke's envoy is killed on the way back, that would give us a perfect reason to declare war. No matter how hard the Caradorial Empire tries to defend itself, not a single one of them will survive. The scene then shifted to the bustling market of Essling City. Rain was seen strolling casually through the market streets, taking in the atmosphere. A local shopkeeper approached him and asked, Young Master Rain, are you satisfied with our shop? Did anything catch your eye? Rain smiled and shook his head. No, I'm not here to shop. I just came out to see the city for myself and to make sure that my people aren't facing any trouble. Hearing this, several other townspeople chimed in with warm smiles. Young Master Rain, how could we possibly face trouble while you're here? Before your arrival, our lives were miserable, but ever since you came, we've had full stomachs and safe homes. Truly, your presence in this city has been a blessing for us all. Rain was speaking. Thanks for the compliment. Go get some rest and focus on your own work. Then, he quietly moved to the side and sat down, beginning to scan every person who passed by. In his mind, Rain was thinking how difficult it was to identify a talented individual among common people. I've been roaming the city for days now, hoping to find just one more talented person, but despite wandering all over, I haven't found a single one. He considered asking his elder sister to assign someone to him, which would have made things easier, but the problem was that she had her own territories and were also in dire need of talented individuals. Relying solely on her wouldn't be right. Besides, I already requested Rosalind from my elder sister. Who knows if she'll agree to another request? Feeling completely lost, he thought, what am I supposed to do now? Nothing makes sense anymore. Seeing Rain so stressed, Leah gently approached him and gave him a comforting hug. She said, Young Master, you've been working so hard for the past 3 days. Please take a short break. You don't need to stress yourself like this. She smiled and reassured him. I've already ordered many of our guards. If they spot a talented person within the city, they'll send them to you immediately. I'm confident you'll soon find the one you need. Rain appreciated her support but still felt overwhelmed. My guards go to every factory and bring back the best workers. They're physically strong, but they're not talented. He sighed to himself. Honestly, no one except me can truly recognize talent. Everyone else assumes that raw strength means talent. He was beginning to feel helpless. I don't even have the investment to open my industries. The elves still haven't provided the funds. Who knows how long their investment will take? Even my damn project isn't complete. It'll take another 15 days to finish. His frustration only grew. And now, I can't even find talented individuals. At one point, I thought I could train my magicians in chemistry. That way, their attack power would greatly improve, and they could contribute to agriculture and other sectors. But all the mages I have are complete fools. No matter how much I try to explain, they just don't get it. He clenched his fists, blaming the system. None of this is my fault. It's all because of this broken system. They gave me an impossible task, one I just can't complete. At that moment, Rain was lost in his thoughts, still hiding within Leah's balloons when a loud voice interrupted his train of thought. From nearby, he heard someone yelling. A shopkeeper was angrily shouting at a man. Every time you come to my shop, you lie to me. None of the stuff you make is of any use. The man being scolded pleaded, please don't say that. Just trust me this once. I promise there won't be any problem with what I've made this time. Curious, Rain scanned the man's stats and was immediately intrigued. The man's name was Armando Castro, and all of his stats were remarkably high. Rain's eyes widened. This guy's skills are amazing. Alchemy and drug mastery. A smile crept onto his face. Finally, I've found someone truly talented. Armando was confidently claiming, just try this potion of mine. I guarantee it will work. If you sprinkle even a little of it on your fruits, they'll stay fresh for an entire year. He continued, explaining that one of the biggest problems for a fruit seller was the need to sell their stock quickly before it spoiled. But with his potion, that major issue could be solved. The shopkeeper, however, interrupted him and snapped, stop with your nonsense. I know you're lying again. Just like last time, you sold me a potion and claimed it would keep insects away from my fruits. But because of your lousy potion, so many of my apples went bad. I suffered a huge loss because of you. Armando tried to explain. What happened last time was an accident. The potion I gave you was meant for soft fruits. It doesn't work on hard fruits like apples. That's why your apples rotted. Shoving Armando aside, the shopkeeper shouted, you always have an excuse, but I won't be fooled again. Not this time. As the argument escalated, Armando protested. Why are you pushing me? At least listen to what I'm saying. Watching from nearby, Rain observed the commotion and thought, I never imagined such an interesting character would be wandering around in our marketplace. Leah, standing beside Rain, grew concerned. She wondered, why is young Master Rain paying so much attention to this alchemist? Could it be he's starting to believe his nonsense? Determined, she told herself that she had to stop her young master from being deceived. Everyone knows alchemists are notorious liars. He's definitely trying to trap young master with his words. Meanwhile, Armando Castro was growing anxious. I haven't sold a single potion today. If I don't sell at least one, how will I eat? I'm starving. Just then, Rain stepped forward and said, I actually found your potions quite interesting. Could you tell me what kinds you have? Armando's face lit up with joy. This guy is wearing an expensive suit, and he even has a maid with him. Looks like I've caught a big fish today. If I sell all my potions, I'll finally get a proper meal. Grinning, he shook Rain's hand and said, hello, sir. If you're looking for potions, you've come to the right man. I'll show you the best potions in the entire world. Take a look. I have a wide variety. What exactly are you looking for? Rain, maintaining a calm tone, asked. By the way, where are you from? I've never seen you in this city before. Are you a traveler? Armando replied. My name is Armando Castro. I'm an alchemist who travels from city to city, selling potions. You could say I don't have a permanent home. I roam wherever I can sell my products, and that's how I ended up here. Rain nodded. So that's why I've never seen you before. You're just passing through. Eager to make a sale, Armando pressed on. Please tell me what kind of potion you need. Whatever your requirements are, I can fulfill them. And if I don't have what you want right now, I can even craft a custom potion for you. There's no medicine or potion in this world that I can't make. At that moment, Leah leaned in and whispered into Rain's ear, Young master, I don't trust this alchemist. I strongly advise you not to believe a word he says. Most alchemists are liars and scammers, and for some reason, this one seems especially suspicious. Rain said, Leah, don't worry at all. I've already checked this guy thoroughly. He won't betray us. Leah, still in shock, thought to herself, checked him? But how? This is the first time we're seeing him. At that moment, Rain pointed toward a potion and asked, what exactly does this potion do? Armando responded enthusiastically, you've picked an amazing potion. Do you know, if we apply this to any object, it will start glowing in the dark. It looks really cool when it glows. My green potion, for instance, temporarily boosts a person's speed. After drinking it, you'll be able to run incredibly fast for a few hours, and your agility will also increase significantly. He continued, now, this third one here is called the Love Potion. Just from the name, I'm sure you can tell how special it is. It won't just make you happy, your maid will be extremely pleased too. Rain scoffed and asked, are all your potions this useless? Don't you have anything worthwhile here? Every single one of these is pathetic. Armando looked offended and replied, if you want to insult me, go ahead, but I won't tolerate any insult toward my potions. I suggest you stop talking nonsense about them. Angrily, Leah shot back. Oh, so you're threatening young master now. What are you going to do if he says something bad about your precious potions? Trying to de-escalate, Armando said, brother, why is your maid getting so angry? I was just making a casual comment. Rain interrupted. The potion that makes things glow at night. Did you use zinc silicate phosphate in it? That compound does make objects glow, sure, but it also makes them toxic. That's why fruits and other materials spoil quickly when coated with it. He added, what you should have used is calcium phosphate instead of zinc silicate. It makes things glow more vividly, it's non-toxic, and here's the best part, it's much cheaper. Your potion would have been significantly better and safer. Armando stood there, stunned. How is that even possible? How do you know about the formula I used? That recipe is my top secret. No one else in the world knows it but me. Rain replied with a smirk. Top secret. Now I understand why you're struggling to sell your potions. What I just told you was basic chemistry knowledge. The level of my chemistry is far beyond your alchemy. If you put in some real effort, maybe you could catch up someday. Armando, still in disbelief, accused. This is basic knowledge. Stop talking nonsense. You must have secretly read my notes, haven't you? That's the only way you'd know so much about my formula. Rain calmly responded. Why would I sneak around and look at your notes? Think about it. What would I even gain from stealing your so-called top-secret formulas? You can't even sell these potions yourself. You don't even know whether you'll earn enough from them to afford a single meal. And you think I'd waste my time for that? He took a step forward and said, look, Armando, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm offering you an opportunity, one that could completely change your life. If you swear loyalty to me from this day forward, I'll teach you what real chemistry is. Once you understand chemistry, your work will become a lot easier. Armando was speaking defiantly, questioning, why should I pledge my loyalty to you? Who even are you? As the situation grew tense, Leah stepped forward and introduced the man standing before them. She explained that he was the new lord of the Essling city and their young master, Rain Edgar, the youngest son of Grand Duke Alferia. Armando, still unimpressed, scoffed and said he had assumed Rain was just another rich guy. But now, knowing that Rain was a noble, he seemed even more disinterested. He boldly declared that he had no interest in becoming a noble's dog. I'd rather starve to death than ever work under a noble. Rain calmly asked him, do you really think we're lying to you? Armando replied bluntly that he didn't have the courage to accuse a noble of lying, but he also wasn't ready to bow down and work beneath one. Leah, visibly irritated, pointed out that she had been watching Armando since the beginning and found his attitude incredibly arrogant. She warned him to apologize to their master quickly or face consequences. Things won't end well for you otherwise. Armando, still unbothered, sneered and replied, oh, and what exactly are you going to do? Kill me? He added mockingly that nobles always resorted to violence because they lacked better ways to deal with problems. Fuming, Leah lashed out, saying he wasn't even worth killing. Just then, Rain intervened, telling her to calm down. There's no need to argue with him. I don't know what kind of trauma you've been through because of nobles, but the way you're speaking makes it clear something terrible must have happened to you. Rain went on to say that while he wasn't interested in Armando's past, he had come here to offer him an incredible opportunity, something that could change his life. He revealed that he possessed exceptional knowledge in chemistry and physics, knowledge so rare that no one else in the world could provide it. If you gain even a fraction of this knowledge, I guarantee you'll have the power to change the world. You could become the greatest alchemist in history. But then his tone shifted. He warned Armando that if he turned down this opportunity and chose to walk away, he would likely continue wandering through life, wasting it away. If you go down this path, no one will even remember your name after you die. It'll be as if Armando never existed. He concluded by laying out two clear paths. One path, the one Rain was offering, could make Armando's name unforgettable in history. The other, the one Armando was currently on, would lead only to obscurity and regret. Rain left the decision in Armando's hands, but Armando shouted in anger, saying that no matter what Rain said, he would never work for him. He believed Rain was trying to lure him in with fancy words, but he wasn't going to fall for it. Armando claimed that he knew the true nature of nobles. They only cared about their own wealth and status. Commoners were nothing more than insects to them, used and discarded. He emphasized that he would never serve a noble, even if Rain was considered great. Armando didn't trust him in the slightest. As a result of his rejection, Armando's loyalty had dropped from 50 to 30. Rain realized that things had taken a turn for the worse. Despite his efforts, Armando wasn't budging, and his hatred for Rain was only growing stronger. Armando then said directly that he didn't care who Rain was. He made it crystal clear. He would never work for any noble. He said he had no faith in Rain's words. Not even a little. Just then, a little girl came running toward Armando with a cheerful voice. She called out, "Brother Armando, when did you come to the city?" Caught off guard, Armando nervously asked her what she was doing there. He warned her that the area wasn't safe and she should leave immediately. Irina, confused, asked why he looked so worried. Armando explained that some very dangerous nobles were present and that no one, not even a child, was safe around them. Then Irina turned to Rain with a smile and asked, "Brother Rain, is that you?" Rain, surprised, asked if she knew him. She responded that everyone in the city knew him. Her mother always said that their lives had only improved because of Rain. If it weren't for him, their situation would have been far worse. Rain asked if her father worked at dam construction. Irina replied with excitement that her father indeed worked for him. She explained that he used to gamble at casinos, but ever since Rain gave him a job, their lives had become happier and more stable. She and her mother always encouraged her father to work hard for Rain, because the better he did his job, the better their lives could become. Interrupting angrily, Armando accused Rain of enslaving Irina's father and forcing him to work as cheap labor. He said he always knew how corrupt nobles were, but he never imagined they could sink so low. He asked how someone could treat their own people so terribly. Rain responded by questioning how Armando could assume so much without knowing the facts. He asked when anyone had said that Irina's father was being forced to work. Armando ignored him and pointed to Irina's worn-out clothes, asking how Rain could say their lives had improved when the child was wearing such ragged clothing. He said that nobles like Rain wouldn't touch such dirty clothes, and yet commoners were forced to wear them. To him, it was obvious that Rain's words were just a facade, and that their lives were still miserable. He concluded that Rain might fool others, but not him. In his eyes, no matter how hard nobles pretended to be kind, they would never actually change. At that point, Leah stepped in angrily. She told Armando that he was saying far too much without understanding the full picture. She said he had no idea what Master Rain had done for the city. When everyone else had given up, even the city's own people, Rain had believed in it. It was solely because of Rain's trust and leadership that the city was now recovering and moving forward. She said she could tolerate many things, but she wouldn't stand by and listen to anyone speak nonsense about Master Rain. Irina nodded in agreement and softly added, "Yes, Brother Armando, Sister Leah is absolutely right and that he shouldn't speak nonsense about Brother Rain." She said Rain was truly a good person. She reminded him that Rain had given jobs to everyone in the city. Not only that, but he had also provided food and shelter. Because of him, they no longer had to shiver in the cold. They now had roofs over their heads and proper meals. She warned Armando that if he kept badmouthing Rain, she wouldn't speak to him ever again. She reminded him that he had never lived in the city, which was why he could never truly understand what Rain had done for them. Rain then turned to Armando and explained that the reason Irina and the others still wore worn-out clothes was not due to negligence. He said that while they already had shelter and food, providing proper clothing was a different challenge. For that, they needed to establish a clothing industry. Until the industry was up and running, clothes would remain expensive and difficult to distribute to everyone. But Rain promised that once the industries were built, everyone in the city would be able to wear good clothes. Armando, still unconvinced, said that he didn't know what an industry was, nor did he care. What he did know for sure was that nobles never truly cared about the common people. He believed that all nobles only worked to fill their own pockets. In his eyes, there wasn't a single noble in the world who genuinely thought about the well-being of commoners. Frustrated, Irina interrupted, asking if Armando hadn't understood what she had just said. She reminded him again that Brother Rain was a truly good man, and she begged him to stop speaking ill of him. As Armando began to leave, he said he didn't want to hear any more praise about her so-called great lord. However, because he considered Irina like a sister, he decided to give her one piece of advice. No matter what happened, she should stay away from nobles. He warned her that although they wore the mask of kindness, they were dangerous people. He told her she would never be able to truly understand their reality. Watching him leave, Rain thought to himself that he hadn't come across such a talented person in a long time. He couldn't afford to let someone like Armando go. He knew he had to find a way to stop him, no matter what. Just as Rain moved forward to stop Armando, he suddenly felt a violent shock in his body and collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Later, when Rain opened his eyes, he found himself back in his room. Leah, visibly relieved, joyfully told him that he had finally woken up. She admitted that seeing him unconscious had truly scared her. Rain reassured her not to worry and said he was completely fine now. Tears welled up in Leah's eyes as she scolded him. She reminded him how many times she had told him not to overwork himself. Yet, he never listened and always pushed himself too hard, especially in his search for talented individuals. She said he had been completely exhausted but still refused to rest. Gently holding her hand, Rain apologized and promised that from now on, he would take better care of his health. He then asked her where Armando was. Leah explained that after Rain lost consciousness, he was quickly brought back to the mansion, and the surprising part was that Armando, who had been on his way out, immediately returned to help upon seeing Rain collapse. Rain, shocked, asked in disbelief if Armando had really come back. Leah confirmed that he had indeed returned, and even handed her some medicine. She recalled that Armando had said the medicine would help Rain recover quickly. After giving her the potion, he quietly left. Rain then asked if she had actually given him Armando's medicine, and whether that was the reason his fever had gone down so fast. Leah responded firmly, saying, "Do you really think I'd give you medicine from just anyone?" She explained that she called the best doctors in the city. It was only after taking their prescribed medicine that he recovered. As for Armando's potion, she said she had placed it safely on the table. She added that she knew Rain was deeply interested in Armando, which was why she kept it safe rather than throwing it away. Rain then said he wanted to examine the potion himself, even without Armando around. Leah quickly offered to fetch it for him and told him to rest. She left to retrieve the potion. Once he had it in hand, Rain studied it carefully and remarked that it looked surprisingly good. It didn't appear to be of poor quality like most unregulated potions. He said that they should bring in doctors tomorrow to analyze exactly what the potion could do. Leah, a little hesitant, asked if Rain truly intended to recruit Armando. From what she had observed, Armando seemed arrogant and rude, especially towards nobles. His attitude was far from respectful. She wanted to know why Rain would consider recruiting someone like that. Rain calmly explained that he had a single reason: Armando wasn't just talented, he was a rare genius. He compared him to an uncut diamond that had been buried under coal. He believed that if Armando's potential was harnessed properly, he could become an incredibly valuable asset and could greatly contribute to the development of Esling City. In his thoughts, Rain reflected that Armando clearly held deep hatred toward nobles. He was certain that this hatred didn't come out of nowhere. There had to be a serious reason behind it. Rain realized that if he truly wanted Armando to work with him, he would first need to uncover what had happened in the past to cause such strong resentment. The scene then transitioned to Armando's home. Armando was looking at a picture, and said that he had come across a very strange noble that day. He told the teacher that the man had seen the alchemy formula just once, and somehow, he was able to explain a lot about it, as if he already knew everything about the formula. What surprised Armando even more was that the noble wasn't arrogant like the others. Despite Armando talking to him in anger, the noble never raised his voice. Even Irina seemed to like him, and was defending him, which shocked Armando. He admitted to his teacher that he couldn't understand this man at all. Still, he reassured the teacher not to worry. He said he knew how all nobles were heartless and cunning, no matter how good their acting was. He wouldn't be fooled. Armando said that he had lost his teacher because of those wicked nobles, and that the hatred in his heart for them would never fade. He declared that he would rather die than ever side with them. He told the teacher that he was doing everything he could to complete her research. He believed that once her truth was unveiled, he would be able to help many people and take revenge on all those wicked nobles. He warned the nobles to beware because Armando's new creation was being made to destroy them. Once it was complete, there would be no difference left between nobles and commoners. The narration then shifted to Armando's teacher, Liesl Grant. 15 years ago, Liesl was one of the most brilliant alchemists in all of Esling City. Thanks to her exceptional skills, she was famous across the region. What made her even more remarkable was that despite her talent, she was not greedy. All her creations were meant for the betterment of common people, and they greatly benefited from her work. Liesl believed that a true alchemist should work for the welfare of everyone, not just to serve the rich. According to her, those who only serve the wealthy could never be true alchemists. At one point, Liesl adopted an orphan, and that orphan was none other than Armando. She taught him everything she knew. She cared for him like her own son, and he grew up under her guidance, learning not only alchemy but also values like compassion and humanity. Their bond was so strong that they never seemed like a teacher and student, but like a mother and son. She didn't just teach him how to mix potions, she taught him how to behave with others and that humanity always comes first. She told him that if someone couldn't work for the greater good, their life was meaningless. However, Liesl's good days didn't last long. Because she frequently helped the commoners using her creations, she became highly respected among them, and this was something the nobles couldn't tolerate. She became a threat in their eyes. The nobles tried several times to stop her. They threatened her, but Liesl never backed down. She continued doing good work for the people. One day, a noble from Esling City, enraged by her defiance, sent guards to her home. The guards had evil intentions. They destroyed her research and falsely accused her of learning forbidden spells that could be dangerous to everyone. Based on these false allegations, Liesl was killed, and because a noble was behind her death, she never got justice. At that time, Armando could do nothing. He was just a 15-year-old boy. Despite living a life of service and goodness, Liesl met a tragic end and was labeled a threat to society. Since then, Armando had been working on Liesl's notes. He was determined to complete the research that the nobles tried to erase. He swore that no matter what, he would fulfill her work and put an end to the divide between nobles and commoners once and for all. We then see that this story was being narrated by Saintess Era to Rain. Tears streamed down her face as she said that Armando seemed very angry, and she genuinely felt bad for him. She said it was heartbreaking to see a child burdened with such heavy responsibilities at such a young age. Rain, moved by the emotional story, still pointed out that his original question remained unanswered. He said, "Saintess Era, I agree the story is very emotional, but honestly, it doesn't answer my question." He reminded her that he had only asked one simple thing: where could he find Armando Castro? He added that, throughout the story, he didn't understand where Armando actually lived or how to locate him. Saintess Era, visibly annoyed, remarked that Rain must have a heart of stone. She pointed out how terribly things had turned out for Armando, and yet Rain didn't seem to feel even a hint of sympathy. Rain calmly responded, saying that regardless of whether he felt bad or not, the past couldn't be changed. He stated firmly that once something has happened, there's nothing anyone can do about it, and it's better to forget it altogether. He then asked her directly, "Tell me, will thinking about his past change anything now?" Rain continued, sharing his personal belief. Humans tend to keep licking their wounds from the past like scars, and unless someone lets go of that past, they cannot create a better future. If one wants to achieve something big tomorrow, they must leave the past behind and move forward. Saintess Era sighed and gave up, admitting there was no point in arguing with him anymore. She said that Armando was most likely at his old house, the one where Liesl used to live. Every time he visited the city, Armando never fails to go there. She added that, as far as she knew, all of Liesl's old equipment and research notes were still stored in that house, and Armando often visited it to use them. Rain said this was actually good news. It meant Armando was still in the city. If he had gone far away, it would have taken a lot of effort to track him down. Now that they knew his location, they should go meet him immediately. Just then, Rain paused and turned to Saintess Era, saying he had another question. He asked if she knew what exactly Liesl had been researching. What kind of work was she doing that had made the nobles so nervous? Saint Azera replied that the name of the project had been quite confusing, but she did remember the first word. She believed it had something to do with steam. Rain's eyes widened in shock. He asked her to repeat herself, saying he needed to hear it from her again to be sure. Saint Azera, now slightly anxious, repeated, I told you, the name had something like steam in it. It's been so long now, I don't clearly remember. Then she asked if there was something particularly wrong with that name. Rain replied, wrong? No. In fact, if it's really what I think it is, then it could be a massive blessing for all of humanity. He explained that if the invention turned out to be what he suspected, the entire world could change. The deep gap between commoners and nobles could finally be erased. This creation, he believed, might just be one of the greatest in history. Saint Azera was surprised and admitted that she always thought it was just some ordinary thing. Rain, growing excited, grabbed her hand and told her they couldn't waste another second. They had to go see Armando immediately. This was urgent. Startled, Saint Azera asked why he was pulling her like that. But Rain's mind was racing. He was certain that Liesel had been working on the steam engine. If that was true, she must have left behind detailed notes and conducted several experiments, because this wasn't a small project by any means. He reflected on his previous life and admitted that he hadn't studied steam engines in great detail back then, as they were considered an outdated technology. He had surface-level knowledge but lacked a deep understanding. However, he was confident that even if he found just a basic theory about how a steam engine worked, he could recreate it using his mechanical knowledge. As a mechanical engineer, he had a solid understanding of machinery. By simply observing the structure of something, he could deduce how it worked. He had already noticed since arriving in this world that transportation was a major issue. Without efficient transport, how could anyone do business? That's when the idea of building a steam engine had first occurred to him. Unfortunately, lacking a proper design or blueprint, he had never been able to build it, even though he had the idea. Now, he thought, if he could somehow find Liesel's notes, he would finally be able to recreate the steam engine and usher in the industrial era in this world at a rapid pace. He also realized that until ordinary people saw tangible profits, they wouldn't support him. But once the steam engine was built, people would finally trust that the industrial era was beneficial for everyone. The scene shifted to Armando, who was working on the steam engine. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Rain's voice called out, Armando, are you inside? Startled, Armando quickly began hiding the steam engine. His thoughts raced. His master had spent a lifetime working on this project. He swore to himself that he would never let it fall into the hands of the nobles. As Armando opened the door, he immediately questioned, what are you doing here? To be honest, you're not welcome in my house. You can turn around and leave right now. Just then, Rain stepped inside, replying sternly that he wasn't here for small talk. He said, just tell me quickly, where are your master's notes? I need to see what exactly she was researching. Armando tried to block Rain's way, stating firmly that he didn't know how Rain had learned about the notes. But one thing is absolutely clear, no matter what happens, I will not give you those notes. I don't trust nobles one bit. I know you'll destroy the remaining notes just like you all tried to do before. At this point, Saint Azera intervened, trying to calm things down. She said, Armando, please relax. None of us are here to steal your master's notes. Our master, Rain, is a very wise person. He has dedicated himself to improving the lives of many. Ever since he heard that your master was working on something that could greatly benefit society, he's been eager to study her research. I promise you, he will make the best use of her notes. He's not like other nobles. He's a good man. Despite her reassurance, Armando pulled out a knife to stop Rain, warning him again, leave my house immediately. This place is sacred to me. I won't let a noble like you contaminate it. I have no desire to attack, so don't force me. Leah, who had been observing quietly, clenched her fists and thought to herself that she would never let this jerk hurt her master. If he takes even one step toward master with that knife, I'll have to take action. But just then, Rain raised his hand and stopped her. He said calmly, Leah, there's no need to act. I can handle this easily. Taking a step forward, Rain looked Armando in the eye and said, to be honest, Armando, you're a complete fool. You don't even have the intellect to understand your master's notes. Do you realize what you're doing here? You're wasting her research, her life's work. The concept of a steam engine is a major scientific breakthrough, and your tiny mind will never be able to build it. Armando snapped back. Oh, so now I'm the one wasting my master's work? Rain replied coldly, absolutely, you are. Completing Liesel's research is beyond your ability. I guarantee it. Even if you worked your entire life, you wouldn't be able to finish what she started. Her groundbreaking research, the one she dedicated her life to, will never reach the world if left in your hands. Angrily, Armando said, you speak like you know everything about the steam engine. You nobles can never understand what research truly means. Do you even know what real research is? If you don't understand anything, then just stay away. Rain calmly challenged him. So you think I have no knowledge at all? Fine, then let's place a bet. That will make everything clear, who really has the knowledge and who doesn't. Armando, clearly surprised, asked what kind of bet Rain had in mind. Rain explained that Armando's goal was to complete the device his master had designed, a task that had remained unfinished for years. Rain added that from the looks of it, Armando hadn't made much progress, which meant the task was extremely difficult. Rain then proposed that if he could successfully complete the device designed by Liesel and make it work, Armando would have to start working for him and follow all of his orders without question. On the other hand, if Rain failed and lost the bet, he promised to leave the city forever and never return. Rain emphasized that since Armando already had issues with nobles, especially him, he probably had no reason to refuse this bet. Laughing, Armando mocked Rain, saying he had seen many fools in his life, but never anyone as ridiculous as Rain. Just thinking about Rain's foolishness made him laugh even more. He pointed out that everyone knew who would win this bet. Rain, after all, was just a young noble master who had never done anything meaningful in his life. Nobles, in his view, only cared about enjoying themselves and had no real skill or work ethic. And now, this noble was claiming he could handle a complicated mechanical task. Armando told him bluntly that he was still giving him a chance to back out of the foolish bet. He explained that he had been working on this device since he was 15. He had his master's knowledge, and after his master's death, he had traveled and gathered even more knowledge. Yet, despite everything, he still couldn't complete the device. So how could Rain possibly succeed? Rain replied that based on Armando's confidence and the way he talked, it seemed like he was ready to accept the bet. Rain suggested that if he agreed, they should start the competition immediately and see whose knowledge truly prevailed. Armando agreed but insisted the conditions of the bet weren't enough. He declared he would modify them. First, if Rain lost, he wouldn't just leave the city forever, he would also have to kneel before his master's grave and beg for forgiveness on behalf of all nobles. If Rain was willing to do that, Armando would accept the bet. Otherwise, there would be no deal. Saintess Era, watching the exchange, stepped in and tried to reason with Armando. She said she understood that he had suffered greatly because of the nobles, but insisted that Master Rain wasn't responsible for what happened. Someone else had wronged him. She reminded him that not all nobles were bad, just like not all commoners were good, everyone had flaws. She urged Armando not to judge everyone based on a few individuals. She emphasized that Master Rain had come here for their benefit and didn't deserve this kind of treatment. In her experience, she had seen many nobles, but Rain was the only one who truly cared about everyone. If he were forced to leave because of this bet, the future of the city would be in jeopardy. Armando responded that he hadn't initiated the bet. Rain had approached him. If Rain thought he was going to lose and wanted to back out, he was free to do so. Armando wasn't forcing him. In fact, he was confident that he would win. Betting against him was Rain's biggest mistake. Rain accepted all of Armando's conditions. He said that if he lost, he would not only apologize at the master's grave but do it in front of the entire city. However, he added confidently that such a situation would never happen. He wasn't going to lose. Eager to begin, Rain asked Armando to quickly show him the engine Liesel had been working on. He wanted to see exactly what components had been used. As he examined the engine, Rain thought to himself that this was the first person since his reincarnation who had insulted him so much. Armando reminded him of the way his old boss used to scold him in his past life. But Rain was confident he could build the steam engine easily. Once he completed it, he planned to make Armando work day and night at the furnace. If he didn't do that, Rain declared he wouldn't be worthy of his own name, Edgar. At that moment, Armando lifted the cloth covering the steam engine and said it was the final legacy of his teacher. He requested them to handle it carefully and not break it. Leah thought to herself that, honestly, the machine looked quite strange. She couldn't understand what was so fascinating about it that made the young master so interested in it. Even Saintess Era was confused. From its appearance, she couldn't figure out its purpose or how it was used. Still, considering how interested young Master Rain was, she concluded it must be something incredibly valuable, perhaps even something beyond their comprehension. Rain gently touched the steam engine, thinking in disbelief that it was truly a steam engine, the kind of invention capable of transforming humanity and ushering in an industrial era. He reflected that if Liesel were still alive, he would have kissed her hands. He wondered how someone could be such a genius in this era. It saddened him deeply that someone so brilliant was no longer alive. Leah remarked that Rain looked genuinely happy. She asked if the invention Liesel created was truly that incredible, as she couldn't even begin to understand its purpose. Rain replied that she wouldn't understand it just yet, but she could believe one thing. This machine had the potential to change the entire world. He went on to say that Liesel could be called the greatest genius of her time, someone born once in several generations. It was their misfortune that such a genius had met such a tragic end. He added that if she had received the support of the right people, she could have transformed humanity. She was capable of achieving things others couldn't even imagine. That's why he declared Liesel a divine genius. Armando, visibly emotional, agreed wholeheartedly. He said Rain was absolutely right. His teacher was indeed a genius. In today's time, alchemists were largely incompetent, but his master excelled in everything from alchemy to mechanics. If she were still alive, she would have completed this machine long ago. He admitted that although he didn't like Rain, what he had said was true. Rain pointed out that Armando had been working on this machine ever since his master's death. He had even been selling potions in nearby cities to earn money for parts and tools. Armando confirmed this, saying that if he were earning just for himself, a little money would have been enough. But since the machine required substantial investment, he was forced to earn repeatedly. He confessed that he could have finished the machine, but before she died, his master never told him how to complete it. And as Rain already knew, all her notes were destroyed when she was attacked. The guards had demolished everything, so now, even though he was building it, he had no idea what its actual purpose was or how it would be used once completed. Rain assured him that while Armando may not understand the machine, he had a good understanding of it. To complete it, Rain said he needed to examine it from the inside. He suspected that internal issues were preventing the machine from working. Despite Armando's efforts, until he opened it up and inspected it, he wouldn't be able to fix it. Frustrated, Armando snapped at Rain, accusing him of going mad. He reminded him that this wasn't just a research project, it was his master's legacy. If Rain opened it, Armando wouldn't be able to reassemble it, and all of his master's research would be lost forever. He declared that he didn't care what anyone thought. He wouldn't let Rain open it. Rain calmly reminded Armando of his dream to complete the machine. Yet, Armando didn't even seem confident that if Rain did open it, he'd be able to reconstruct it. Rain said bluntly that even if Armando worked on it for 100 years, he wouldn't be able to complete it because he lacked faith in his own knowledge. Rain emphasized that he was different. There was no machine in the world that he couldn't fix. If he had placed his hands on this one, he was confident he could complete it. He told Armando to just watch and see what real experience looked like, then asked him to hurry and bring a screwdriver so he could remove the nuts. Stunned, Armando asked what a screwdriver even was. Rain held his head in disbelief. He thought it was tragic that someone who didn't even know what a screwdriver was had been trying to complete a steam engine. He pitted Armando, comparing him to a man rowing a boat that would never reach the shore. Armando argued back, saying they could just use magic to remove the nuts. He couldn't understand why Rain was making such a big deal out of something so trivial. He added that he hoped Rain had at least opened a nut before in his life and feared Rain might ruin his master's invention. Then, Armando shared that his master had worked closely with dwarves, exceptional craftsmen who had built every part of the machine with their own hands. They wouldn't have done it for just anyone. Under his master's guidance, they spent 7 years building the machine. He had witnessed her dedication firsthand. He explained that this was why he had initially refused to let Rain touch it, because he already knew that a reckless noble like him could never complete it. Rain was thinking to himself, he didn't even give me a screwdriver, and instead started rambling nonsense again. He wondered just how lightly this guy was treating nobles. He's talking as if nobles don't even have a brain. Then, Rain turned to Leah and told her that he needed her dagger, specifically one that matched the size of the nut. Leah responded that she had one available. Using Leah's dagger, Rain began loosening the nut. While working, he thought to himself, pushing this world forward is going to be incredibly difficult. This is a world where even loosening a simple nut is a huge challenge. Soon, Rain managed to unscrew all the nuts. Examining the internal structure, he muttered with growing admiration, the more I see of this thing, the more incredible it looks. How can someone have the brains to imagine and build such a complex machine from scratch? But then he paused. Wait a second. Where did the parts go? One of the most crucial part of the machine was missing. Maybe that's why it's not working. Rain then asked Armando, where did the machine's parts go? A very important internal component is missing. Armando was visibly shocked. He thought, how does he know that? Only I knew about the missing parts. Trying to cover up, Armando said. What nonsense are you talking about? This machine has always been like this. It never had any additional components. Look, it's obvious you don't understand machines. And that's why you're just making up stories. If you can't fix it, then fine. Just admit defeat. There's no need to put on this useless act. Apologizing at my master's grave won't make you any smaller. Rain thought to himself with annoyance. What do you take me for? A fool? I can clearly see the machine's core is missing. Without it, how could it ever function? He said aloud, this is exactly why. Despite all your effort, you've never been able to complete it. The very component the machine needs to operate isn't even inside. Tell me quickly, where's that part? Without it, we can't finish this. Armando finally broke down and admitted, nervously, yes, it's true, that part used to be there, but years ago, a noble removed it. Rain was surprised. The core part was taken out. But as far as I know, nobles aren't interested in mechanical stuff. Why would they take it out? Armando explained, this machine is extremely powerful. My master had its core specially reinforced using rare dragon crystal ore. When one of the top-ranking nobles found out, he sent his men to forcibly take it from us. He added bitterly, that noble said it was pointless to waste such a rare material on a machine. So he melted the core down and turned it into a statue, just to flaunt his power in the city. Rain was stunned. He exclaimed, a statue? A foolish noble destroyed a crucial component of this incredible machine just to show off. That's beyond idiotic. He fumed. Who is this fool that made such a colossal mistake? Tell me his name right now. I'm not going to let that bastard go. But Armando said grimly, what's the point? You're a noble yourself, and we all know that nobles never go against each other. No matter how powerful you are, no one in this city dares to cross that man. Even you can't do anything to him. So what's the use? Rain replied coldly, oh really? So there's a so-called big shot in this city I can't mess with. Now I'm really curious to know who this untouchable man is. Just tell me his name, Armando. I'll handle the rest myself. I need to know who this bastard is. The one standing in the way of my plans for industrialization. Whoever he is. He's not getting away with this. Trembling, Armando finally revealed the name, Duke Eska. Saintess Era was visibly shocked and asked if it was really Duke Eska behind all this. Rain noticed her reaction and asked why she was so surprised. Did she know Duke Eska? Saintess Era admitted she knew him very well. She explained that Duke Eska used to be a minor noble in their own city of Essling. Back then, he had no real authority. But what made him special was his extraordinary talent in alchemy. At a very young age, he had already made significant achievements in the field. Thanks to those achievements, his reputation began to rise. Later, during an imperial alchemy competition held between all the nations, Duke Eska represented their country, and not only that, he won effortlessly. His victory brought great honor to the nation. In recognition of his accomplishments, the emperor granted him immense resources, and even elevated his status to that of a full-fledged duke. From being a minor noble in a small city, he now owned his own territory. Curious, Rain asked which territory Duke Eska ruled over. Saint Azera explained that Eska's territory was directly above theirs, encompassing the entire Granzer region. Leah added that the Granzer region didn't belong to them, it fell under the jurisdiction of Grand Duke Eldro. Because of this, the Edgar family's laws didn't apply there. That meant they couldn't do anything to Duke Eska for now. Leah warned that if they harmed him, it could provoke an all-out war. Rain then recalled something his father had once told him, how he and Grand Duke Eldro never saw eye to eye. Their ideologies were completely different, and every time they met, their disagreements escalated into arguments. The two men couldn't even stand the sight of each other. Rain acknowledged that if they made a move in Eldro's territory, it would almost certainly lead to war, especially since relations were already strained. Leah agreed, saying Rain was absolutely right. Grand Duke Eldro and his father had completely different styles of governance. She further explained that in every imperial conference, the two Grand Dukes always stood in opposition. There had never been a single instance where their opinions aligned. If one spoke of peace, the other called for war, and if one promoted war, the other preached peace. To prevent conflict between territories, the emperor kept the two as far apart as possible. Rain calmly stated that he had understood something important from all of this. If they attacked that fool Eska, Eldro would undoubtedly intervene. A small issue like this could turn into a full-scale war. For now, they'd let it go, but when the time was right, they would strike, and the attack would be devastating. He looked up with steely resolve and said, Duke Eska, be ready. I won't forget your name. Melting my gear was a grave mistake. If I don't make you pay for it, then I don't deserve to be called Rain Edgar. At that moment, Saint Azera stepped forward and urged him to calm down. She reminded him of all the great things he had already achieved, and how many powerful enemies he had defeated. But she warned that acting in haste now wouldn't be wise. She pleaded with him to drop the idea of confronting the Duke. She reminded him how hard she had worked to gain the trust of the elf tribe on his behalf. They believed in Rain, but their only concern was his tendency to wage wars too quickly. If he started another war now, that trust would be shattered. That's why she asked him, as his loyal companion, to let go of any thoughts of war, for the sake of everyone involved. Rain declared with determination that when he said he would teach that bastard Eska a lesson, it didn't mean he was about to start a war, or take unnecessary risks. He was well aware that attacking directly was a foolish move. Still, as for punishing Eska, he swore he would make that happen no matter what. He told Saint Azera that she had no idea how vile Eska truly was. 15 years ago, humanity could have progressed far ahead. But because of that idiot, people were still suffering. Now, Rain was starting to understand why Liesel had been killed. Everyone believed Duke Eska was a genius, but Rain was certain that Liesel's brilliance completely outshone Eska's. That bastard must have found some excuse to eliminate her, fearing that if Liesel's talent were ever revealed, no one would value Eska anymore. Rain firmly stated that Eska would be punished for his disgusting actions. He added, Eska should pray I don't reach him, because once Rain Edgar stood at his door, it would be the last day of Eska's life. At that moment, Armando asked cautiously if Rain was seriously thinking of going against Duke Eska. Armando admitted that he hated that bastard Eska too, but warned that taking such a path was dangerous even for Rain. He confessed that he didn't want someone as noble and righteous as Rain to lose his life over past grievances. Rain reassured him, telling Armando not to worry. He made two promises that day. First, that the steam engine project would be completed, and the world would witness how amazing it truly was. And second, he would punish that bastard Eska so severely that no one will ever dare make the same mistake again. He would prove to the world that there were people more talented than Eska, people who never got the chance to rise. Because of that scumbag, Rain promised that Liesel would get the respect she deserved, and Eska would face the punishment he had earned. Rain suggested they would deal with everything else later. For now, their top priority was fixing the steam engine. He recalled that Armando had said his master's notes were destroyed. Typically, engineers visualize and draw their inventions before building them. Rain asked if his master had kept a sketchbook where she liked to draw. If they could find that book, he was confident it would contain the steam engine structure. Armando replied regretfully that there was no sketchbook. His master had only documented everything in her notes, and those were gone. Moreover, she had never taught him anything specific about the machine. He only had some basic elemental knowledge. However, Armando mentioned that there was one person, besides his master, who knew everything about the machine, Uncle Bram, the man who crafted its parts. He was an exceptional dwarf craftsman, and the only one alive who could help. Rain was relieved to hear this. If Uncle Bram had built the machine's parts, he would know how it functioned. That meant they could simply approach him and get the parts rebuilt. But Armando cautioned that it wouldn't be that easy. While it was true that Uncle Bram knew how to build the parts, he had refused to help every time Armando had approached him in the past. According to Bram, his parts were responsible for the death of Armando's master, and because of that, he refused to take any risk with Armando's life. Rain responded calmly, saying that if Bram wouldn't help Armando, he would try himself. Armando, however, warned him again. Uncle Bram was a strange man, and if Rain did go to him, he shouldn't expect too much. As the scene progressed, Rain and his group arrived at Uncle Bram's place. Bram shouted furiously, complaining that his room was small, and now they had crowded it. He bluntly told them to leave. He wasn't going to help them. Saintess Era stepped forward and pleaded with him. She explained that their young master Rain was different from other nobles. He had done so much for the people of the Essling city, and she requested Bram not to treat him so harshly. Bram looked at Rain and said he had heard a lot about him, that the new lord of the Essling city was a good man. But then he added that being good wasn't enough to fix everything. While he acknowledged that Rain had punished some corrupt nobles, and solved the city's food problems, those deeds didn't mean Rain could fix everything. The issues plaguing the city were far greater than he imagined. Saintess Era said, "This is where we common folks make the biggest mistake. You're saying that the young master can't fix everything, and that all he's done so far are minor tasks. But to be honest, he hasn't been here for long, and even in that short time, he's already solved several serious issues. I truly believe that in the next 5 years, he'll have everything back on track. Our city will become a remarkable place, and if we don't support such a good lord, it won't affect him much, but it will be a huge loss for us." Uncle Bram responded, asking, "Why are you praising him so much? He's only doing what a lord is supposed to do. Every lord who came before him failed to fulfill their duties. For example, I'm a blacksmith. My job is to forge iron tools for the people. Similarly, a lord's duty is to manage and support his people. There's nothing particularly noble about that." Rain nodded and respectfully replied, "Uncle Bram, you're absolutely right. A lord's duty is to take care of his territory, and understand the struggles of his people. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, making sure they have good food and proper clothes. That's also the reason I came to you today. I want to do even more for my people." Uncle Bram was shocked by Rain's calm agreement. He thought to himself, "I never expected a noble to agree with me. I compared a lord's work to that of a blacksmith. I was sure he'd get offended and storm off. But this kid, he accepted it. Have nobles really changed so much?" Finally, Uncle Bram asked, "So, what is it that you want me to make?" Rain replied, "Do you remember the steam engine Liesel was working on 15 years ago? I need the gear for that machine, so I can complete it. You already know what happened with the previous gear. That's why I'm asking you to make another one, just like before." Hearing this, Uncle Bram was visibly stunned. He said, "If it's the gear you want, you're not going to get it. I swore I'd never make that thing again." Rain asked in surprise, "But why? What's the issue with making the gear?" Uncle Bram looked solemn as he replied, "If I had known that worthless gear would cost Liesel her life, I would have never made it. Not even for her. She asked me for it, so I used the best material I had, dragon crystal. But how could I have known that gear would catch the attention of the nobles? Because of it, they killed her. I won't make that cursed thing again. I can't bear to see someone else die because of my work." Suddenly, Armando stepped forward and shouted, "Uncle Bram, just a few minutes ago, you said that a blacksmith's job is to make tools for the people. Now when we're asking you to do exactly that, you're refusing? You had no problem pointing fingers at Lord Rain for not doing enough, but when it's time to do your own duty, you're backing off." Uncle Bram replied firmly, "There's no point in trying to provoke me. I won't fall for it. I've made up my mind. I won't forge that gear for anyone, and besides, the biggest problem is finding another dragon crystal. That material is extremely rare." Rain responded calmly, "Uncle Bram, ever since I mentioned the gear, you've only been talking about the dragon crystal. Are you saying that Liesel's machine won't work unless it's made from dragon crystal? Is that the only way it can function?" Uncle Bram frowned and asked, "What exactly are you trying to say, kid?" Rain explained, "What I mean is, can't we rely on your forging skills instead? Why can't we use a regular iron instead of a dragon crystal? After all, the purpose of a gear is to run the machine. Does the material really matter that much?" Uncle Bram, clearly irritated, snapped at Rain, saying he didn't know anything, and was just rambling nonsense. He questioned whether Rain was seriously suggesting that he melt iron to its liquid form, something only ancient dragons were capable of. Bram emphasized that apart from ancient dragons, no one in the entire continent could produce enough heat to melt iron. "Where would we even get such heat from?" he exclaimed, calling the idea impossible. Rain, deep in thought, realized that Uncle Bram was referring to the ancient dragon clan. Based on what Rain knew, dragons could breathe fire, and the temperature must be incredibly high, probably why they were able to melt iron. Rain continued, agreeing that Bram's furnace was indeed incapable of melting iron ore, because its temperature was too low. "This approach won't work," Bram replied, reaffirming that it wasn't just his furnace. No one in the entire continent had a furnace that could produce enough heat to melt iron. "Listen to me, kid. Melting iron is no joke. Just forget about it." Rain admitted that Bram was right. Currently, no furnace could melt iron ore. But then he posed a challenge. What if he could build a furnace that could easily melt iron? If he succeeded, would Uncle Bram help him craft the parts for Liesel's machine? Uncle Bram was stunned and wondered what this boy was even talking about. If such a furnace could be built, it would be a breakthrough for the forging world. They could finally create things they had only dreamed of. But then doubt crept in. Bram reminded himself that Rain was just a child, and a noble at that. Nobles usually didn't involve themselves in forging, so he dismissed Rain's idea as nonsense. Uncle Bram told him bluntly, "Kid, don't waste your time. Do you really think you're the first to try this? Many before you have attempted to build high-quality furnaces, even with countless tries by genius craftsmen, No one has created a furnace capable of melting iron easily. However, he admitted that if Rain could create such a furnace, it would revolutionize the world of forging. They could produce amazing weapons, armor, and more, at an unimaginable pace. But he still doubted Rain's ability. You're too young, and you come from a noble family. Nobles don't usually understand forging, so your claim about building a high-quality furnace is just empty talk. Rain smirked and said they would soon find out who was really full of empty words. Then he shifted the topic and proposed a bet. If I build a furnace capable of melting iron, will you agree to craft the parts one need for Liesel's machine? Uncle Bram, now intrigued, responded, so that's what this is about? Fine. If you really build that furnace, I promise to make those gears for you, and not just the gears. If you need any additional parts later, I'll personally make them. I'll help however I can to complete Liesel's machine. Rain, thinking to himself, realized that Bram had taken the bait. Creating a high-quality furnace is actually easy for me. He said aloud, all right then, it's a deal. Soon, you'll have your high-quality furnace. As Rain left, Uncle Bram gave him a warning. Remember this, kid, if you fail to make that furnace, don't ever come back here. I'm giving you your final chance. After this, I won't help you again. Rain reflected that melting iron ore required a temperature of 1,538 degrees Celsius. Honestly, the current furnace wasn't even close to that. If I want to increase the furnace's heat, I'll have to modify it. He identified the first problem. There wasn't enough room inside the furnace for proper oxygen flow. So, he concluded that he needed to build a secondary oxygen supply that would enhance the thermal effect and rapidly increase the temperature, possibly even doubling it. With this in mind, Rain picked up a hammer lying nearby and began striking the furnace, ready to start the transformation. Saint-Isera and Armando were stunned. They thought, what is young master doing? He's actually damaging Uncle Bram's furnace. As Rain stepped closer to the furnace, Era quickly tried to stop him. Please don't do this, young master. If Uncle Bram sees that you've broken his furnace, he'll be furious. Armando added urgently, Uncle Bram is deeply attached to that furnace. If you break it, he'll never make parts for us again. In fact, he might never even look at us. Rain calmly replied, relax, I'm not doing anything wrong. In fact, I'm trying to fix something. With that, Rain made 2 holes in the furnace. Then he explained, now, with these 2 vents, the supply of oxygen and hydrogen will significantly improve. This will greatly enhance the combustion efficiency of the furnace. I believe it will more than double, and with that, we'll be able to reach the temperature needed to easily melt even iron ore. Saint-Isera, still confused, said, young master, I didn't understand anything you just said. All I want to know is, will this actually work? Can such a small change really increase the temperature that much? Rain smiled and said, that's the beauty of science. What looks like a small change can have a massive impact. Just wait and see how this furnace melts iron ore like never before. Right then, Uncle Bram arrived, carrying a load of iron. As soon as he saw the modified furnace, he froze in shock. What have you done? Why did you break my furnace? Do you have any idea how much effort I put into building it? I poured everything I had into this, and you just destroyed it in seconds. You've really crossed the line this time. Rain responded respectfully, Uncle Bram, I understand your anger, but please believe me, I didn't break it. I've actually improved it. Just look at how efficiently it melts iron now. Still furious, Uncle Bram barked. Do you think forging is a joke? Do you think you know more about it than me? I've spent my entire life in this craft, and I'm telling you, you've ruined my furnace. Forget iron ore. It might not even melt basic materials now. Achieving the temperature needed to melt iron ore is nearly impossible. Even when the furnace was perfect, it couldn't do it. And now, with 2 random holes, this will only lower the temperature further. I don't even know if this furnace is usable anymore. Rain said gently, you've brought the iron with you, haven't you? Then why not just try it once? Use it and see for yourself. You'll never know unless you give it a shot. After a long pause, Uncle Bram grumbled, since you're insisting so much, fine, I'll see for myself. I know everything's already ruined, and nothing's going to work anymore, but just to prove you wrong, I'll give it a try. Reluctantly, Uncle Bram placed the iron inside the furnace. Everyone gathered and watched closely. Moments later, Uncle Bram's eyes widened in disbelief. This can't be happening. The furnace actually melted the iron. Saint-Isera gasped. Young master, you are absolutely right. It's working. The furnace really did melt the iron. Armando was amazed. This is incredible. I never thought we'd be able to melt iron. Young master Rain, what exactly did you do to enhance this furnace's capabilities so much? Rain turned to Uncle Bram and asked, Uncle, don't you have something to say? You were quite vocal a moment ago. But Uncle Bram stood there speechless. Finally, he murmured, Kid, how did you do this? Just by making 2 holes, you improved the entire system? I've always dreamed of building a high-efficiency furnace, and you made it real in a flash. Rain nodded and replied, I applied the principles of aeronautics here. If you're interested, I can explain everything in detail later. The core knowledge in aeronautics is truly fascinating. Then he smiled and asked, so, will you make that gear for me now? Uncle Bram chuckled and said, you've earned it. So yes, I'll make it. But listen closely, kid, once that gear is made, that nobleman might come after you. Liesel made the same mistake. She underestimated him, and look what happened. His name still carries weight to this day, so be careful. Rain smirked. Don't worry about me. He's the one who needs to be scared. I don't know whether he'll come to me, but I will go to him. And when I do, I'll show the entire world the mistake that bastard made all those years ago. Later, Rain arrived at the steam engine, holding the gear Uncle Bram had crafted. In his mind, he thought this was the missing piece that had kept the engine from functioning properly. Now, he was certain that once this part was installed, the steam engine would finally start working. He boldly declared that the world better get ready because the industrial era was about to begin. A world where people would live happier and better lives. Leah, observing the gear, commented that although it looked sturdy, it also seemed too small. She pointed out that the steam engine was massive, and questioned how such a small gear could support something that big. If it broke inside, it could cause serious injury, especially since Rain would be standing close during installation. She added that she couldn't allow him to get hurt while she was around. Saintess Era agreed with Leah, stating that she was absolutely right. She explained that the dragon crystal ore was extremely strong, and wouldn't break even if inserted into the machine. Unlike ordinary iron, they couldn't rely on anything less durable. She urged Rain to stay away from the machine for now, and said she would ask her people to bring the crystal. Once it arrived, they could proceed safely. Rain reassured everyone not to worry. He explained that normally, steam engines used iron gears anyway. It was just that Liesel had limited knowledge, which is why she had used dragon crystal ore. In reality, such high-grade material wasn't necessary. A simple iron gear could do the job just fine. Armando then stepped in, praising Rain's work, and saying he supported him because of it. However, he insisted that Rain not speak ill of his master. After all, she had built this machine, and questioning her knowledge was unacceptable. Rain responded by saying that instead of worrying about his master, Armando should be more concerned about himself. He reminded him of their bet, and warned him that if he had forgotten, he'd gladly remind him. If Rain could fix the steam engine, then Armando would work for him for the rest of his life. Now that the engine was almost complete, Rain told him to get ready to fulfill that promise. Armando firmly stated that he stood by his word. However, he said he wouldn't believe Rain's claims until the machine actually started working. If Rain could repair it, then Armando would do whatever Rain asked of him. With confidence, Rain inserted the gear into the machine, and announced that everyone was about to witness magic. As he started the machine, it began to emit smoke. Saintess Era, overjoyed, exclaimed that it was unbelievable. The machine had finally started working. She looked at Rain and praised him, saying he was truly incredible for completing a 15-year-old project. Even Armando was left in shock seeing the engine run. With tears in his eyes, he whispered, "Master, it's finally done. Our years of waiting have finally come to an end." Then, the story transitioned into Armando's past, showing scenes of him spending countless hours with his master, learning how to craft machines while working by her side. Liesel was shown telling him that this machine was incredibly important to her. She believed that one day it would change the lives of countless people, and make their difficult lives more comfortable. It was her dream to complete the machine no matter what. Then came the fateful day when Liesel was attacked. As she lay dying, struggling for breath, she said one final thing to Armando: "It was my dream to finish this machine, but sadly, I won't be able to. Now, I leave everything to you. I trust only you. Please, complete this machine for me." In the present, Armando was seen sobbing uncontrollably, with tears streaming down his face. He said that his teacher's final wish, the dream she had worked so hard to fulfill, had finally come true. He confessed how many times he had tried to build this machine, and how each failure had devastated him. He always felt like he wasn't capable of doing anything for his master, but now, seeing that dream realized before his eyes, he felt genuinely happy and fulfilled. Saintess Era asked Master Rain whether they should go and comfort Armando. Rain gently refused, saying, "Let him cry. These tears have been held back for years. They're not tears of sorrow, they're tears of joy. The more he lets them out, the better it will be for him." The scene then transitioned to 3 hours later. Uncle Bram approached Rain, and remarked in surprise that he never imagined someone like him could actually fix the machine. "Honestly, I've been watching this thing for a while, and all I've seen is smoke coming out of it. Is it called a smoking machine? Does it smoke like humans too?" Saintess Era chimed in with a chuckle, agreeing that she'd been wondering the same thing. "Besides smoking, what does this machine actually do? You've worked so hard on it, so it must be something really special. But what benefit do we get from all this smoke?" Uncle Bram then speculated aloud, "Wait, I think I've figured it out. This machine might be used on battlefields. Imagine seeing it release thick smoke. Any opponent would surely panic. Its real function must be to intimidate the enemy." Rain, observing their conversations, thought to himself that they truly had no idea. He silently praised Liesel, acknowledging that she was a true genius. They can't even understand what this machine does just by looking at it, yet she built it all by herself. Then, Rain addressed everyone directly. "All your guesses so far have been wrong. This isn't a smoking machine. Let me explain what it really is." He revealed that the machine is a steam engine. This is the foundation of the industrial era. It's going to play a major role in shaping the future. Whether it's for the textile industry, transportation, or even war machinery, this machine provides the energy to power them all. You could say it's the beating heart behind every other machine. Uncle Bram was stunned. Industrial era? Confused. Turning to Saintess Era, He asked if she knew anything about it. She admitted that it was her first time hearing the term, but if young Master Rain says it's important, then I believe it must be. Rain continued, explaining that the steam engine helps other machines operate, whether it's for weaving textiles, moving goods, or powering weapons. It has a significant role in everything. It provides the energy needed for all of them to function. This invention won't be forgotten for centuries. In fact, I believe it's one of humanity's greatest creations. And the best part? This is just the beginning. Saintess Era, now beaming with excitement, exclaimed that she understood everything now. You're truly amazing, young Master Rain. Uncle Bram also admitted that it all sounded incredible. But is it really as important as you say? Can it really help with everything? He said he was looking forward to the day when their methods of forging weapons would change forever, ever since you heated up that furnace using just 2 holes. I've been thinking, if that can increase the heat so much, there must be countless new ways to forge weapons and tools. If you know anything about them, please do share it with me. Rain assured Uncle Bram that once his work on the steam engine was complete, he would help him first. He told him not to worry, as there was still much that he needed Uncle Bram's help with in the future. Rain explained that the world was on the verge of a massive transformation, and he intended to show everyone the countless benefits of industrialization. He envisioned a world where industry and magic coexisted, and if he couldn't turn this land into a hub of both, then he didn't deserve to be called Rain Edgar. As Rain was sharing his ambitious vision, Rosalind suddenly arrived and informed him that Lady Prisha had entered his territory. Rain's face lit up with joy as he exclaimed that his sister had arrived. He found it to be wonderful news, and immediately began thinking about the dam project, which was nearly finished. However, he was also facing a serious financial shortage. He thought to himself that this was the perfect time to request help from his sister. He remembered that his second sister was quite wealthy, and if she agreed to invest in his city, it would solve many of his problems. The idea thrilled him. Rosalind added that Lady Prisha had brought a special gift for him, and had asked Rain to meet her as soon as possible, so she could hand it over to him personally. Rain's excitement grew. He eagerly asked Rosalind if she had seen what the gift was, saying he couldn't wait to find out what his sister had brought for him. Rain thought to himself that his elder sister had always spoiled him since childhood. He imagined she had brought a lot of gold for him, which would save him the embarrassment of asking for money, especially now that she had practically thrown it at him herself. He proudly thought that the Edgar family truly was the best family in the world. But then Rosalind delivered an unexpected twist. She revealed that Lady Prisha hadn't just brought wealth, she had brought a large number of young and beautiful women, all between the ages of 18 and 20. Rosalind joked that it seemed Lady Prisha knew exactly what kind of gift would please their young master. Upon hearing this, Rain was completely stunned. He hadn't anticipated such a gift at all. Soon after, Rain returned to his mansion to meet Prisha. As she greeted him warmly, she teasingly fired a playful shot, and remarked how much he had grown. She told him, "You have no idea how much I've missed you." Rain replied with a smile, saying that he had missed her too, and added, "But I really need to ask you something important." Pointing toward the girls behind her, he asked, "Why did you bring them with you?" Prisha chuckled and responded, "Why are you asking that? Don't tell me you didn't like any of them. Are you saying none of these girls are your type?" Rain quickly clarified, "No, that's not it. It's just, ever since they arrived, people have been looking at me differently. Those who used to respect me now look at me strangely. It's making me feel really uncomfortable. That's why I need to know, why did you bring them here?" Prisha raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh really? Do the people here actually have the guts to disrespect their lord?" Rain could tell his sister understood everything perfectly well, but she was clearly pretending not to. He thought, I had built such a good image in front of Leah, but now, that image is completely ruined. She's probably thinking I'm some shameless pervert, and all this time I was just pretending to be noble. Turning to Prisha, he said, "Sister, please try to understand. Just look at Leah. Her expression says it all. She's usually cheerful and kind around me, but right now, she looks furious, like she could kill me with her eyes. Please stop joking around." Prisha smiled and replied, "So Alice is actually affected by your behavior? That must mean she really cares about you. Honestly, Rain, you're very lucky. The people around you truly care for you." Rain sighed and pleaded, "Sister, can you stop talking for a moment? You're trapping me with your words, and this joke has gone on long enough. Just tell me, why did you bring all these girls here? I clearly remember never asking you to bring anyone." Finally, Prisha said, "Okay, I'll tell you, but first, don't act like this is a big deal. I brought them because of that letter you sent me." Rain was shocked. "Wait, what? Because of a letter?" She nodded and explained, "Yes, the one where you mentioned how much you liked Rosalind, and that you wanted to keep her for yourself. When I read that, I thought, my little brother has finally grown up, so I wanted to make you happy. I figured if you had more options, it would be better for you. That's why I brought different types of girls, hoping at least one of them would suit your taste." Stunned, Rain said, "Wait a second, when did I ever say I liked Rosalind? You misunderstood my letter. I wanted to bring her here because she's extremely talented, not because I have feelings for her." Prisha burst out laughing. "Oh, is that so? Well then, I guess I did misunderstand. But honestly, I personally like Rosalind a lot. She's brave and beautiful, and even if you did like her, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm your big sister. There's no need to feel shy around me." Then, turning to Leah, she said, "By the way, Alice, I wanted to ask you something. If your young master decided to take extra wives, would you have a problem with it? Don't worry, he won't neglect you in any way." Before Leah could react, he quickly interjected, "Sister, please don't say things like that." Leah then stepped forward and said politely, "Miss Prisha, it seems like you're joking, but I'm just the young master's maid. I don't have any right to comment on his personal life. Whether he marries one woman or many, that's entirely his decision. Honestly, I'm not even sure how important I am to him." She paused, then smiled faintly and added, "But I suppose it's a good thing that you came. You've reminded me of something very important. I'm just a maid." Rain turned to Leah and said gently, "Please don't take this the wrong way. Everything sister said was just a joke. You really don't need to take it to heart." But Prisha noticed that Leah's hands were trembling. She thought to herself, "I've seen many maids in my life, but never one as genuinely caring as Leah. She clearly cares deeply about Rain. Because of that, I shouldn't tease her anymore." Then, turning to Gwen, Prisha said, "All right. We've joked around enough for today. Send all the girls back. There's no need for them to stay here any longer." Gwen nodded respectfully and replied, "Yes, Miss Prisha. I'll take care of it." Later, Rain took Prisha with him to the study room. He began explaining, "In just a few days, the dam project in Essling City will be complete. One of the main benefits is that we'll finally be able to control water flow for farming. We'll release only the water we need, which will help the farmers immensely. And more importantly, we can use the dam to generate hydropower." Curious, Prisha asked, "Hydropower? What exactly does that mean? Are you talking about some sort of magical array to control water?" Rain shook his head and replied, "Not exactly. To put it simply, we'll use the flow of water to generate energy. That energy can then be used to power mechanical devices. It will solve many existing problems and make life easier for everyone." Despite his explanation, Rain could tell that Prisha still didn't quite understand, so she asked, "But will this really solve the food crisis here? Because if it does, it would be a huge help." Rain nodded. "Yes, everything is connected. If the fields get proper irrigation, the crops will grow better. And once the crops are plentiful, the food shortage will naturally be reduced. Don't you see? Building the dam will solve multiple issues at once." Prisha sat down, clearly impressed. "That's incredible. But tell me, Rain, where did you get all this knowledge from? I remember very well, you never liked studying. You always focused more on swordsmanship than books. So how do you suddenly know so much? Come on, stop hiding and tell me the truth. I know my brother. He never had this kind of knowledge. What really happened to him?" Rain was taken aback. "I completely forgot about this. How could I forget? I'm not the real Rain Edgar. When I arrived in this world, my body was already badly injured. At the time, I didn't know why, and I never asked anyone. But now it makes sense. Those injuries must have come from intense sword training." He realized he needed to come up with a believable explanation quickly. If Prisha grew suspicious of him, it could become extremely dangerous. Trying to remain calm, Rain smiled and said, "Sister, are you joking again? I'm right here in front of you, and yet you're asking where your brother is? You know I was injured just before I became the city lord. When I woke up, my body was in pain, and I couldn't continue practicing swordsmanship, so I stayed at home and started reading a lot. That's how I learned about all of this. That's when I realized, swordsmanship isn't everything. The knowledge in books is just as powerful." Prisha thought for a moment. He's telling the truth. Even in the letter I received from Alice, she wrote the same thing. After Rain recovered from his injuries, he spent nearly a month doing nothing but reading books. I had no idea he was in such pain back then. But now it makes sense. Reading must have been his only option. She looked at him and asked, "Did you really read all those books from our family library?" "I've read most of them myself, but I never came across anything about dams or power generation. Could you show me which book you read that taught you all this? I'd like to see the one that gave you such incredible knowledge." Just then, Rain pulled out some notes from his side and said, "This is the book that gave me all this incredible knowledge." As soon as Prisha began reading it, she saw it was filled with advanced information about alchemy. She thought to herself, he wasn't lying. This book really does contain some strange and fascinating knowledge. I've never read anything like this before. Smiling warmly, Prisha said, "You truly are worthy of being my brother. Turning theories from a book into real-life results is no easy feat, but you've managed to do it." Rain replied with a sheepish grin, "Honestly, I've been so busy working on all these projects that I haven't had any time to practice my sword techniques." Prisha responded in a soft voice, "I know what happened to you, and I also know how much pain you've endured, but you don't need to push yourself too hard. Practicing swordsmanship again could put your life at risk, and nothing is more important to us than your life. That's why I was asking you all these questions earlier, because I've been really worried about you. Since childhood, we've always tried to shield you from the struggles of our family. We made sure you never had to face any hardships, and now, to see you standing strong and handling everything on your own, we're all truly proud of you. Please don't think I was doubting you. Everything I said, every concern I raised, it was all because I care about you." Rain smiled and assured her, "Sister, there's no need for you to worry anymore. I'm completely fine now. Thanks to all of you, I've become capable enough to handle things on my own." Prisha nodded, her voice filled with emotion. "That makes me really happy to hear. But Rain, there's something I want you to always remember. No matter what happens, no matter how much the world changes, your sister will always be by your side. Whether it's managing the territory or anything else, if you ever need my help, just say the word. I'll support you however I can." Hearing this, Rain felt overwhelmed with gratitude. He had been waiting for this moment. Finally, "I can ask her what I've been meaning to." He looked at her and said, "Sister, actually, there's something I need your help with, and without your help, I won't be able to do it." Surprised, Prisha asked. Already? What kind of task is giving you trouble? Tell me, Rain explained. Sister, I want you to invest in my city. You already know that recently we've faced a lot of setbacks. Because of that, I'm running low on resources, and without your help, I won't be able to complete my plans. But with your support, the future of our Essling city could be so much brighter. Prisha responded. Wait, are you saying you need money? As far as I remember, you destroyed 4 powerful factions in Essling city. After taking down them, didn't you acquire a huge amount of wealth? Are your plans really so massive that all of that is already gone? Rain quickly clarified. No, sister, I'm not asking for money. What I need are people. You know very well, before I became this city's lord, the place went through multiple wars. The population has drastically decreased, especially when it comes to young and talented people. Most of the current residents are either elderly or children, and they can't contribute to the city's growth. The few who can are just not enough to rebuild and push us forward, Prisha then said. So you're asking me to send some of my people to help? Rain smiled and nodded. Exactly. I need craftsmen, farmers, and magicians from your territory, skilled individuals who can genuinely help develop the city. I know I'm asking for a lot, but I'm not asking for it for free. I promise, everyone you send will live comfortably here. Once their work is done, and they return to you, they'll do so happily. I'll also make sure to train them with modern knowledge and technology, making them even more efficient in their respective fields. This will benefit both of our territories greatly, Prisha admitted. I'll be honest, your plan sounds solid. But if you had just asked for gold coins, that would have been easier. It's much harder for me to send the core people, who are the backbone of my territory. You're right, every territory relies heavily on such people. Without them, a territory can't grow. So, my dear little brother, do you really think I can just give them up that easily? Rain reminded her gently. Sister, you said yourself you'd support me fully. Please don't go back on your word now. And let's be real, this won't just benefit my city. As my city grows, so will yours. All of us, as siblings, stand to gain. Laughing, Prisha said. I was only joking, little brother. Of course I'll help. If I promised, then I'm not going back on my word. You took that joke way too seriously, she assured him. Once I return, I'll send some truly outstanding individuals to your city. But before I do that, I want to see results with my own eyes. I want to be sure that what you've promised isn't just talk. Show me the work you've already done. Let me see the results. Only then will I be confident that sending my people won't be a waste of their time, and that they'll contribute meaningfully to the future of both our cities. Rain replied confidently. If it's results you want, then I have no problem proving myself. I'll show you exactly what the power of industry looks like. Later, Prisha went to meet Gwen. She looked genuinely happy and told her, You know, Gwen, I'm really proud today. For the longest time, Rain was just a child in our eyes. We worried about how he'd survive without our care. But seeing him now, seeing how much he's grown, fills me with so much joy. And even more so, knowing he didn't end up as that bastard emperor's puppet. He's become a real leader, someone who thinks for himself, and actually has the ability to turn those thoughts into reality. Gwen agreed with Prisha, saying she was absolutely right. She pointed out that their young master Rain was not only incredibly talented, but also extremely hardworking. He was putting his heart and soul into developing the city. Gwen added that if Rain kept working with the same dedication, she could guarantee that he'd go far. Prisha responded proudly, saying it amazed her how much her brother was accomplishing just by using his intelligence. But at the same time, she couldn't help but feel bitter about the fact that despite spending his entire life practicing martial arts, he could no longer use them, and it was all because of that bastard emperor. If he hadn't poisoned Rain, then Rain would have been able to use both his mind and his martial prowess to their full potential. She gritted her teeth and said the emperor would pay for what he did. He had launched a deadly attack on Rain using poison, and now it was time for one of the emperor's sons to die. Only then would he understand the consequences of targeting Prisha's little brother. She ordered Gwen to begin monitoring all the prints. As soon as you find a suitable target, have him eliminated. She emphasized that the emperor had made a grave mistake, and it was critical that he paid for it. Gwen assured her not to worry, saying she would handle everything, and make sure no one ever found out what happened. Meanwhile, Prisha's thoughts were seething. You filthy emperor, you should have known your limits. The person you chose to harm is my little brother, the one I love more than anything else in this world. You dared to attack someone so precious to me? Of course, I'll take revenge. You should be thankful that Rain didn't suffer any permanent damage from your poison. If anything had happened to him, I would have buried you alive. The scene shifted to a group of shady men transporting something in their vehicles. One of them, riding up front, grinned and said, Boss, we've got our hands on something incredible this time. I guarantee we'll make a fortune selling it. With that money, we'll be living the good life for a long time. Another man, clearly annoyed, snapped, I swear, sometimes I get so pissed at Eldrick. From transporting the goods to finding buyers, we do all the hard work, and even after all that, we still have to hand over a huge cut to that bastard. The man standing nearby chimed in, You're right, we take all the risks, while Eldrick just sits back and rakes in the profits. I'm honestly starting to feel like quitting. How can someone be so damn useless and still make money off us? At that moment, their boss stepped in and said firmly, Shut your mouths. We've been doing this job long enough, and you still haven't learned anything. I get it, Eldrick is greedy, and yes, he takes a lot of our hard-earned money. but let's be honest, without his support, we wouldn't even be able to pull this off. Without him, this job would be impossible. He reminded them, there's a rule in this business. Never speak against the one who supports you. Think about it. If Eldrick weren't around, could we move around the city as freely as we do? We enter like we own the place, do all our dirty work, and leave without anyone stopping us. No one else would allow us that kind of freedom. And if anyone here has a problem with Eldrick, or doesn't want to share the profits, there's a simple solution. Quit right now. Just then, a man came running toward them. Boss, we've got a problem. The city lord of Essling City has changed. Eldrick isn't in charge anymore. The boss, shocked, asked, what? The city lord changed? When did this happen? Tell me everything. What exactly went down when you were there? The man explained, I went to Essling City on your orders. When I reached the city gates, I noticed something strange. New guards. I had never seen those guys before. I approached them, and made up some excuse to get in, but they didn't buy it. I even tried to bribe them, but they straight up threw the money back in my face. They completely refused to accept even a single coin. They started asking questions, what I was doing there and who sent me. I lied and told them I was visiting a relative, which helped me dodge further questions. But while talking to them, I learned one thing for sure. Eldrick is no longer the city lord. The new lord is apparently a really good man, who genuinely cares about his people. Even the soldiers under his command are completely loyal now. No one's accepting bribes anymore. One of the boss's men looked concerned and said it was a huge problem. If Eldrick's no longer in charge, then what's the point of going there at all? Honestly, boss, I think we should turn back. Annoyed, the boss snapped, asking, turn back, and go where exactly? He reminded them that their only safe haven had been Essling City. Then he gestured toward the girls in the back of their caravan and said, we brought them all the way from Duke Eska. These girls are slaves from Orvis Empire. We owe Duke Eska 3,000 gold coins for them. If we return empty-handed, we both know what Duke Eska will do to us, and it's not something I even want to imagine. He made it clear that returning without making money would be the height of stupidity, and that wasn't something he was willing to do. Another man agreed with the risk but voiced concern. I get your point, boss. But what if this new city lord doesn't play along? What if he doesn't understand our business, and throws us in jail? That would be an even bigger disaster. The boss remained calm and assured them there was no need to panic. It doesn't matter how noble or righteous the new city lord is. In the end, everyone bows to money. Sure, we may have to offer him more gold than usual, but I guarantee he'll let us operate once he sees the numbers. We'll head to the city tomorrow. Everyone's exhausted, so for tonight, we'll camp in the nearby cave and rest. Tomorrow, we'll enter the city and negotiate with the new lord. If he agrees to our terms, it'll make future trade from here way easier. Just then, a chubby man stepped forward and asked eagerly, boss, can we have a little fun tonight? Another guy joined in, backing the idea. Yeah, boss. Who knows if we'll even make it back alive from the city? At least let us enjoy ourselves one last time. If we die tomorrow, at least we won't die with regrets. The boss smirked and replied, fine, just don't touch the red-haired girl in the cart. She's important to us. Do whatever you want with the others. But remember, she's off limits. The moment he said that, the men's faces lit up with excitement. As they turned back toward the caravan, they joked to each other about how much fun the night was going to be. As the rest of the crew began settling near the cave, two of the men pulled one of the crying girls from the cart. Tearfully, she begged them, please, let us go. We haven't done anything to you. The chubby man laughed and said, don't worry, sweetheart. I'm a real gentleman. I won't hurt you. But even as he spoke, he began moving in closer, preparing to do exactly what he had implied. Before he could touch her, however, a sharp noise came from behind. How dare you do something like this near our territory? The camera panned to reveal none other than Rosalind. As the bulky man turned around, he remarked with a puzzled tone, a girl, this late at night, and she came here all by herself? He narrowed his eyes and questioned her further, asking what exactly she wanted from them. Rosalind responded sharply, saying she had the same question for them. She demanded to know who they were, and what they were doing out here so late at night with a girl. She reminded them that they were in Rain Edgar's territory, and warned that they couldn't just do whatever they pleased here. The bulky man, now silently sizing her up, couldn't help but think to himself how stunning the girl was. Just then, the second man scoffed and said that despite seeing everything, she still dared to question what they were doing. He offered to explain things clearly, telling her that on such a dark night, they were simply having a little fun, and from the looks of it, she seemed quite jealous of the girl with them. He told her not to worry, and smugly added that she was welcome to join them if she wanted. They wouldn't mind including her too. The bulky man chimed in with a wicked grin, saying, he's right. We'll make sure you're satisfied tonight. Rosalind grew increasingly irritated. Inwardly, she fumed at how disgusting their behavior was, and on top of that, they had the audacity to respond to her with such arrogance. She realized she'd have to teach them a lesson. Without another word, Rosalind dashed forward with incredible speed. The two men were stunned, looking around in shock, wondering where she had suddenly disappeared to. Before the second man could react, Rosalind struck him with a deadly attack, taking him down in a single blow. The bulky man panicked and started yelling for help, shouting that a crazy girl was attacking them. Rosalind advanced toward him without hesitation and stabbed him as well. She coldly told him that when she tried to talk to them civilly, they responded with arrogance, so this was their punishment. Hearing the commotion from inside the cave, two more men stepped out. When they saw their companions lying dead, they were completely stunned. One of them exclaimed in disbelief, saying the others had only stayed behind to have some fun. So who could have killed them? At that moment, Rosalind began releasing her power and advanced toward them. She muttered that clearly, these men weren't alone, and it looked like a whole group of filthy scum had trespassed into their territory. The two men screamed in panic and bolted back into the cave, shouting for their boss to save them before the crazy girl killed them too. Hearing the cries, their boss frowned, wondering what was going on. He questioned whether some kind of beast had attacked them, but as he stepped outside, the sight shocked him. As he stood in disbelief, the two men rushed up to him, yelling that the crazy girl had killed their brothers, and that if he hadn't shown up, she would have killed them too. Their boss looked at Rosalind, and maintaining a calm demeanor, asked if he could know why she had attacked his men. He insisted that as far as he remembered, they hadn't done anything to offend her. If they hadn't wronged her, then why had she punished his men so severely? Rosalind cut straight to the point. She asked him whether the girl from earlier was with him, and what exactly her relationship to him was. The boss chuckled awkwardly and replied that there seemed to be some misunderstanding. He suggested she had likely assumed they were bad people doing terrible things. But that wasn't the case. He claimed they were slave traders from Duke Eska's territory, and they had only come here to sell slaves. He even pointed out that they had orders from local nobles in her city, and were merely transporting the slaves as per those requests. Everything they were doing was completely legal, and because of that, she had no right to attack his men. Rosalind's expression darkened. Internally, she was shocked by what she had just heard. Did he say he came from Duke Eska's territory? She remembered something her master Rain had once told her, specifically about being vigilant when patrolling, especially if anything came from Duke Eska's domain. That moment flashed in her mind. Rain had clearly warned her to keep a close watch on anything related to Eska. Rosalind told Master Rain, "All right, Master Rain, if anything comes from the Duke Eska's territory, I'll make sure to keep a close watch on it." She then asked curiously if there were any specific things she should be on the lookout for. She assured him that if it was something ordinary, she wouldn't bother him with it. Rain replied with a firm tone, saying that her only job was to find any fault in those people, no matter what. Rosalind had been shocked at the time. Was her task really to find faults in others? Now, in the present moment, she recalled those words clearly. Master Rain had told me to catch them when they're in the wrong, and now, here they are, trying to bribe me with gold. What could be a bigger offense in our territory than that? The boss, trying to smooth things over, said that whatever had happened between them was just a misunderstanding. He reminded her that he had clearly explained where they were from, and why they had come. He then offered what he called a better solution, asking her to accept a gift from their side, and forget everything that happened that night. According to him, it would be beneficial for both parties. Rosalind, however, was lost in thought. She remembered how confused she'd been when Master Rain told her to dig for a mistake. Even now, she didn't fully understand why her master needed these men caught in the act. But one thing was clear, this was the best opportunity to catch them, and she wasn't going to let it slip through her fingers. Then, she shouted with fury that she didn't care who they were, or where they came from. Not even Duke Eska himself mattered to her. She reminded them in a commanding voice that they were standing in the territory of Essling City, under the authority of her master, Rain Edgar. In this place, they had no right to commit illegal acts, especially not the audacity to bribe one of Rain's knights. Rosalind accused them of already committing 2 major crimes since entering their land, and ordered them to get down on their knees and apologize. She warned that if they did, she wouldn't attack, but if they refused, the consequences would be severe. Annoyed, the boss retorted that he had already shown her their documents, and even tried to shut her up with money. Yet, it seemed she wanted even more. He snapped that greedy people often end up with nothing. He accused her of trying to rob them blind, and said she didn't know who she was dealing with. He mocked her, calling her greedy, and claimed that while she was planning to take advantage of them, she had no clue how dangerous they really were. He warned that she should have taken the money while she could, because now, she would never make it out alive. She was alone, and he had a group of men with him. He challenged her, asking if she really believed she stood a chance against them. Rosalind calmly spun her spear and said coldly that he seemed to be too proud of his numbers. She declared she would give them all one last chance to live, kneel down and surrender. After that, the authorities would decide what to do with them, but if they chose to remain arrogant, they would die by her hand. Their fate now lay in their own hands. Then she demanded that they choose, life or death. The boss scoffed and claimed they weren't children who would tremble at threats. He said they had handled knights far more powerful than her. To him, she was just some ordinary girl and posed no real threat. As he charged at Rosalind, attempting to attack, she didn't even move. With a light motion, she flung him back like a rag doll. Without budging an inch, she struck him down with a kick, defeating him on the spot. Rosalind stood over him and mocked. "Didn't you just say you've defeated people far stronger than me? That I'm just one girl and couldn't possibly do anything to you? So what happened now? I'm still standing here, alone, and yet, you can't even lift yourself to fight back. I'm offering you one final chance to live. If you value your life even a little, stay right where you are, because if you try to get up again, I swear I'll drive this spear straight through your bald skull." Just then, we see Rosalind's allies arriving on the scene. The knights looked to Rosalind and asked what they should do next. Rosalind ordered them to move forward and arrest everyone present. She told them that these people had tried to bribe her, and that alone was enough to consider them a threat. She commanded the knights to capture them immediately, and place them under high alert. What would happen to them next would be decided by Master Rain himself. The knights nodded and began rounding up the suspects. Scene shifted. Rosalind returns to headquarters. At the door, Rosalind knocked and called out respectfully, saying, "Master Rain, it's me, Rosalind. I've come to deliver an urgent report. May I come in?" Rain's voice came from inside, giving her permission to enter. Kneeling before him, Rosalind spoke clearly and respectfully. She reminded him of the order he had given her a few days ago, to report anything suspicious coming from Duke Eska's territory. She informed him that just a short while ago, her team had intercepted one of Duke Eska's caravans. She said she had come to report exactly that. Rain's expression brightened with interest as he asked in surprise if she had truly managed to capture the caravan already. He urged her to explain what was wrong with it, assuring her that he trusted her judgment. If she had taken action, there must have been something seriously wrong with it. Rosalind confirmed this, explaining that the caravan was transporting slaves, and when she confronted the group, they attempted to bribe her. The moment they offered her money, she knew something was off. In her view, they were trying to sell slaves within their territory without any official permission. Rain's face darkened with anger. He muttered, "So that's how it is." Seeing his sudden change in expression, Rosalind grew tense. She wondered what had suddenly made him so furious. Could there be a deeper conflict going on between Duke Eska and Master Rain? Rain then burst out in rage, saying that those arrogant bastards actually dared to sell slaves in their territory without authorization. He declared that no matter what happened now, he wouldn't let this go. He promised to teach that filthy Duke Eska a lesson he'd never forget. Rosalind successfully captured the bandits' boss and thrown him in jail. As the scene continues, Rain approaches and says sternly, "The audacity of you bandits has gone too far. What made you think you could come into my territory and trade slaves?" The bandit boss chuckles arrogantly and replies, "You're talking about my audacity? Honestly, I'm shocked by your boldness. Do you even realize that by capturing me, you're going against Duke Eska? Also, tell me something. How did you even manage to replace Eldrick? From what I knew, he was a wise man. Replacing him and becoming the new city lord, that's quite something." He leans in, offering a sly smile. "Look, if you're new and don't understand how this city works, take my advice. Cooperate with us. It'll benefit you greatly. But if you pick a fight with us, I promise, you won't survive in this city. You've got no idea how powerful we are." Rain replies coldly, "You keep mentioning Eldrick. Seems like you've worked with him quite a lot." The boss nods without hesitation. "You're right. Ever since Eldrick became the city lord of Essling City, we've been working closely. Every year, he used to provide us with a good number of slaves that we'd sell off in the Empire. Today, we brought only a few. Normally, we transport dozens." Rain's expression hardens. "So you're saying you currently have fewer slaves with you? I want to know where you've hidden the rest. Tell me their location now, or things will get very bad for you." The boss smirks mockingly. "Oh, you want to know? Then get down on your knees and beg me. Even then, I won't tell you. Who even are you for me to give you any answers?" Rain steps closer, his voice sharp. "Are you even thinking clearly? You're standing in my presence, and your life is now in my hands, and yet you speak to me with this arrogance?" He clenches his fists. "Trust me, if you keep spouting nonsense, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I can either let you live, or end you right here and now." The boss raises his chin defiantly. "Go ahead and touch me if you dare. I know a fact that Duke Eska will protect me. If you kill someone under his protection, he will come after you. He'll enter your city and kill you. There'll be nothing you can do." Rain retorts, "You seem to be forgetting something. You're in my territory. If this were Duke Eska's land, maybe you'd have been safe. But here, he holds no power." The boss scoffs. "Cut the act. Boy, I can see right through you. You're just bluffing, trying to scare me. If you had the guts to do anything, you'd have done it already. Stop wasting my time and just tell me, how much profit do you want? Let's finish this deal once and for all. I've had enough of this nonsense." Rain turns to his companion. "Leah, this guy's out of his mind. Looks like we'll have to knock some sense into him." Without hesitation, Leah draws a knife and says calmly, "Understood, young master. I know exactly what needs to be done." She hurls her knife at the boss, and it lands squarely on his shoulder, making him collapse to the ground. Now visibly terrified, the boss thinks to himself, "I underestimated him. This guy wasn't bluffing after all. If I don't speak now, I'm dead." Shaking, the boss finally confesses, "There's an abandoned house in the southern forest. That's where we've hidden the rest of the slaves. That's everything I know. Please, don't kill me." Rain turns to Leah as he walks away. "Tell Rosalind to prepare the cavalry. We're heading to the southern forest. Let's see how much filth they've spread in our land, and how many slaves they're hiding." Rain's tone turns deadly. "I hope for your sake that you weren't lying, because if even a single word turns out to be false, then when I return, I'll give you a life so miserable that you'll beg for death. But even that won't come easily." As they leave, the boss grits his teeth and thinks, "Say whatever you want, kid. I know you're not coming back. Sure, you'll find the slaves at that location, but you'll also find our assassins waiting for you. By the time you realize it, your head will already be separated from your body. If only you had taken my offer, you could have profited. But now you're marching straight to your death." Rain and his team finally arrived near the forest. As they stood before a rundown house, Rosalind looked around cautiously and said, "Master Rain, it seems the bandit boss wasn't lying. Judging by the state of this place, it's clear people have been here recently, and in large numbers too." Rain gave a sharp command, "Surround the house. I don't want even a single soul escaping, not by mistake, not by chance. As he moved to enter the building himself, Rosalind quickly stepped in front of him. Young master, please wait, let me open the door first. The moment she pushed the door open, the group was stunned. Inside were frightened slaves, huddled together in fear. One of them cried out, please don't hurt us. You can do whatever you want, just don't kill us, we beg you. Rain's voice turned soft but resolute. Rosalind, rescue all of them. These people are innocent, victims, trapped by monsters like them. Just as Rosalind stepped forward to free the slaves, an arrow was fired at her, but with lightning-fast reflexes, she slashed it mid-air. Everyone, protect the young master. We're under attack. Rain's guards quickly formed a protective shield around him. Don't worry, young master, as long as we're here, no one can touch you. Suddenly, the enemy's assistants emerged from the shadows. One of them spoke calmly. You must be from Grand Duke Alferia's side. We're not here to start a fight. We just came to do business. How about we sit down and talk? Violence won't help either of us, Rosalind snapped back. After everything we've just witnessed, you think we'd talk to you? There's nothing left to say. Before anyone could respond, Rain raised his hand. Wait, Rosalind, I want to hear what they have to say. I'm curious what kind of talk they think is still possible. The lead assistant smirked. Finally, someone reasonable. Let me be honest. We've been selling slaves here for years. High-quality slaves bring us a fortune in gold coins. Even low-tier ones fetch no less than 100 coins. The demand never drops. Season after season, buyers keep coming. In fact, we can't even keep up. He leaned forward and continued. But you know what we really need? A permanent ally. Someone who will open the gates of their city to us. Forever. With that, our profits would multiply. And you seem like a smart man. He made his offer. Join us, work with us, and we'll give you a share of the profits every year. And don't worry, it'll be more than enough to satisfy you. Plus, you'll gain other benefits too. He gestured toward the slaves. Every premium slave we acquire, we'll bring them to you first. You can choose whoever you like and keep them, for free. No charges, no limits, all because you'll be our partner. The assistant smirked. This offer is just for you. Eldrick had grown too old for such pleasures. But you're still young. I'm sure you have needs. With us, you can fulfill every single one of them. So tell me, do you want to partner with us? There's profit in it for you, in every possible way. I doubt you'll find a better deal. Rosalind clenched her fists in disgust. How dare these scumbags speak to our young master like this? Do they really think he's like them, filthy and corrupt? He'll definitely turn them down, and show them what a real man of principle looks like. But to everyone's shock, Rain spoke calmly. Your offer sounds quite lucrative. I'd like to know exactly what percentage of profit you're offering me. It's better if these things are made clear from the start. That way, there won't be any issues later during the operation. Everyone in the room, including Rosalind and the soldiers, was stunned. The assassin, mistaking Rain's interest as genuine, smiled with delight and praised him for being smart. He said that cooperating with them was the right choice. He promised Rain that if they were allowed to run their operations freely in his territory, they would give him 10,000 gold coins every year, along with unlimited access to women. If business went well, they might even offer Rain a bonus. He then asked Rain how he found the deal. Rain, now openly sarcastic, replied that the offer was absolute trash. He mocked the idea of receiving only 10,000 gold coins in return for allowing such illegal operations to run for an entire year. Do you take me for a beggar? Pointing out that his elder sister gave him more pocket money than that. He questioned why he would agree to do something so disgraceful for such a low amount. He added that if the assassin had at least proposed an amount that made the immoral act feel worthwhile, maybe then he could have considered it. But for 10,000 gold coins, he wasn't even remotely interested. The assassin was visibly shocked. He exclaimed, "You think 10,000 gold coins is a low amount?" He explained that he had believed it to be a generous offer, but now he was genuinely curious. How much did Rain expect? Rain, with a confident expression, stated that he wasn't greedy. He had plenty of money already, so he wasn't easily lured by gold. But if they really wanted his cooperation, they'd have to pay him 100,000 gold coins per month. He said he didn't need bonuses or women, just the money. And he made it clear that this was his final price. No negotiations. The assassin's face twisted in irritation. He shouted that 100,000 gold coins per month was outrageous. He accused Rain of mocking him. Even selling slaves for an entire year wouldn't earn that much. And now Rain was demanding it as a monthly fee. Trying to maintain composure, the assassin insisted that he wasn't joking. He was talking about real business here. He urged Rain to be reasonable. Rain calmly asked if the assassin really thought he was joking. He reminded him that an offer was made, and he simply gave his price. If the assassin didn't like it, that just meant they wouldn't be doing business together. And if they weren't working together, then it was clear they had entered his territory with the intent of running shady operations. As the city lord of the region, Rain said it was now his responsibility to teach them a lesson. He ordered Rosalind to begin shooting immediately. He declared that he no longer wanted to look at the disgusting faces in front of him. At once, the soldiers raised their bows and prepared to fire. Panicked, the assassin tried to reason with Rain. "Sir, I think you're taking this the wrong way." He insisted they weren't saying they couldn't pay. It was just that they didn't have the authority to approve such a high amount. He begged Rain to give them some time. They would return and speak to their superiors about the new terms. And then Rain could negotiate directly with them. He insisted that there was no need to escalate things. Internally, the assassin was seething. He cursed Rain in his thoughts and vowed that once he got out of there and reached Duke Eska, things would be different. He imagined returning next time with the Duke's army at his back. He fantasized about Rain being overwhelmed by the sight of such a powerful force, begging on his knees and settling for even less than the original offer. For now, the assassin thought, Rain could act tough, but his time would come. The assassin began by saying that, to show their sincerity, they were offering 10,000 gold coins up front. He added that Rain could consider this as the starting point of their cooperation. As for any additional payments, he would inform Rain after consulting with Duke Eska. He politely requested Rain not to get angry over money, suggesting that if they worked together, they could earn far more in the long run. But Rain shook his head. He said flatly that such a small amount couldn't possibly satisfy him. Rain says, Rosalind, what are you waiting for? It's time to attack. Rosalind commanded her troops to initiate the attack. Seeing the sudden shift in energy, the assassin panicked. He shouted at his men to run. These people don't want to make a deal with us. They're here to kill us. Get out as fast as possible. His group began to flee, using the back gate to escape. The assassin then instructed his team to regroup at the rear hill. Meanwhile, Rosalind was in pursuit, commanding her archers to begin firing. She gave strict instructions, not to kill, but to target their legs. They needed to stop them from escaping, not end their lives. Obeying her command, the archers launched a volley of arrows, but the assassin used a water shield to block many of them. He declared confidently, we're not so weak that we can be captured this easily. Rosalind then personally moved in to strike. She launched a direct attack, but the assassin managed to dodge it just in time. Rosalind warned them coldly that escaping from their territory was impossible. She described the region as being like a spider's web, easy to enter, impossible to leave without their permission. She advised the enemy to surrender, insisting it was pointless to resist any further. Meanwhile, the assassin assessed the situation. All his men were already engaged in battle, and Rain's forces were highly skilled. If the fight dragged on, he knew they would all be wiped out. He told himself he had to find a way to escape, because defeating Rain's forces was out of the question. Then, his eyes fell on Rain, who stood alone and seemingly unguarded. The assassin realized this was his chance. Everyone was busy fighting, and it seemed they had forgotten to protect their lord. He thought, if I attack that bastard directly, we'll have the perfect chance to escape. I just need to draw everyone's attention away. He whispered to his comrades to keep the enemy busy, while he made his move toward Rain. As he charged, he shouted, even if we all die today, I won't let that bastard walk away. His fellow assassins increased their efforts in battle, blocking Rosalind and the others from reaching Rain. Rosalind, alarmed, called out, Master Rain, be careful. That bastard is coming for you. The assassin sneered, it's too late for warnings now. Girl, you should have thought about your lord earlier. You were so busy trying to catch us that you forgot to leave anyone to guard him. And now, you'll pay the price. Rosalind, panicked, yelled to her soldiers, forget the assassins, head toward the Master Rain. No matter what happens, Master Rain must not be harmed. Protecting him is our top priority. The soldiers immediately rushed toward Rain, but they were still some distance away. The assassin had already gotten dangerously close. Smirking, he taunted Rain, you had a golden opportunity to make a fortune, but your arrogance made you choose death instead. Remember, everything happening now is because of you. If you'd just agreed to my deal, none of this would be happening. Look where your ego has brought you. Rain looked at him calmly and said, so, you're the one who's going to kill me? Interesting. But before you can even touch me, you'll have to go through Leah. The assassin froze. Wait, where did that girl come from? Before he could react, Leah appeared and landed a single, thunderous punch, sending the assassin flying. Furious, she shouted, how dare you try to attack the young master? Looks like you've completely given up on living. The force of her punch created a cloud of dust and smoke. The assassin, now on the ground, was severely injured by just that one attack. The assassin sneered and said he finally understood the situation. That girl wasn't just a maid, she was a warrior. Now it made sense to him why Rain had stood so confidently in place without even moving an inch. He admitted that, to be honest, his mind had completely snapped at this point. He said he had never felt so furious at anyone in his life as he did at Rain. That's why. He didn't care about the consequences anymore, no matter what it took. He swore he would kill Rain today. With rage burning in his eyes, the assassin charged forward again. But before he could even get close, Leah landed a single kick that sent him flying through the air once again. As he hit the ground, the assassin lay there stunned, questioning how a girl could possess such overwhelming power, and if she's that powerful, then why is she working as a maid? Just then, Rain's soldiers arrived and surrounded him. One of them said that they had finally captured the bastard, and it had taken a tremendous effort to do so. Another added that the assassin had some serious nerve, trying to attack their master so boldly. As the soldiers secured the area, Leah stepped forward and addressed the assassin directly. She reminded him that he had dared to attack the young Master Rain. She said that for such a sin, she could never forgive him, unless she personally finished him off with her own hands. Until that happened, she swore she wouldn't be at peace. Lying wounded, the assassin slowly opened his eyes and smirked. He muttered that they had finally fallen into his trap. In an instant, he hurled a dagger straight at Rain. As the weapon flew through the air, the assassin called out mockingly, telling Rain he should really change his thinking, because thanks to his people's carelessness, he was about to die. Leah cried out in horror, screaming, Master Rain, be careful. But it was too late. The dagger struck Rain directly in the shoulder. Rosalind gasped, stunned. How did this happen, even while we were all here? Despite the pain, Rain remained composed. He told everyone there was no need to panic. He ordered them to make sure none of the assassins escaped. Capturing them was more important than anything else right now. Rosalind, still shaken, called out to the others that their young master was injured. She commanded all forces to move forward and protect him. The assassin, meanwhile, thought this was the perfect opportunity to escape. He told himself that once the soldiers rushed forward, they could slip away unnoticed. Rosalind turned back to Rain and asked urgently if he was all right. She ordered everyone to chase after the assassin while she took the young master back to safety. But the moment she looked back, she realized something was wrong. The assassin had vanished. He had already escaped. The scene shifted to a dark forest. There, the captain of the assassins was seen sprinting at incredible speed. His mind raced as fast as his legs. He was thinking, we're in deep trouble. I have to get out of their territory no matter what. Only then can I report to the Duke Eska what really happened here. He knew that if they died in this land, no one would ever find out what truly occurred in those hidden cabins. But if the Duke Eska learned the truth about what these bastards did, I swear they won't let them get away with it. Even if I die after delivering the message, I won't regret it. Someone has to make these monsters pay. Just then, someone appeared right in front of him, blocking his path. He froze in shock. Who the hell are you? And how dare you stand in my way? A calm, teasing voice replied, young man, you seem to be in quite the hurry. What exactly have you done that's got you running like this? The assassin stared, confused. It's just a girl. She doesn't look like a knight. Doesn't seem dangerous at all. The mysterious girl smiled. You're probably wondering who I am, and why I'm out here in the middle of the night. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Prisha Edgar, and I'm the eldest daughter of Grand Duke Alferia. Some even call me the Lord of Thrend, because the entire territory of Thrend City belongs to me. The assassin's eyes widened. What? You're the Grand Duke's eldest daughter? He stepped back instinctively, stunned that such a person was standing right in front of him. But miss, what are you doing here? And what business do you have with me? Internally, the assassin panicked. The Duke Eska have committed many sins. What if he crossed paths with this family too? What if I'm the one paying the price for his mess? But then he paused. Wait, she said she's the Grand Duke's daughter. If these people have uncovered the truth about Duke Eska, then he is in serious trouble too. Prisha raised an eyebrow. What's the matter? What are you thinking about? By the way, do you even know who you just fought back there? She stared at him knowingly. From your expression, it's obvious you don't. You attacked someone and ran, without realizing who he was. Well, if you don't know, I'll tell you. The soldiers who chased you, they serve my younger brother, Rain. And the person you just attacked and fled from is none other than the youngest son of Grand Duke Alferia, Rain Edgar. The assassin stood frozen, heart pounding in disbelief. What have I done? I honestly thought he was just another city lord like Eldrick. I had no idea that someone who arrived alongside soldiers would turn out to be the Grand Duke's son. He clenched his jaw. I made a massive mistake by attacking someone from the Edgar family. There's no way I'm getting out of this alive. Even if Duke Eska himself were here, he'd be dead by now. Prisha stepped forward. I have to admit, you've got guts. She gave him a half smile. Even most nobles wouldn't dare lay a finger on the Edgar family. And yet here you are, an outsider bold enough to attack us directly. She chuckled lightly, though to be fair, my brother Rain also surprised me today. Assassin stood there in shock and asked what surprise she was even talking about. Prisha took a slow step forward and began to explain. She said her younger brother, Rain Edgar, was someone who had been showered with love his entire life. If he ever mentioned he wanted something, it would appear before him almost instantly. He was never used to hearing the word no. That's why, seeing Rain stay so calm after being attacked completely shook her. She said that if Rain had been the same as before, he wouldn't have let it slide. He would have killed the attacker himself, with his own hands. And yet, he had just stood there quietly, completely still. That uncharacteristic silence had confused her deeply. She said she couldn't figure out how a person could change so much. But then she turned toward the assassin and said not to worry, because if her brother had chosen not to do anything here, then neither would she. The assassin, still trembling, asked what exactly she meant by that. He reminded her that he had attacked her brother. Wasn't that reason enough for them to kill him? He asked if that's why she was holding back. For now, Prisha gave a cold smile and replied that she hadn't come here to attack him. She was only here to watch. The one who's going to kill you is standing right behind you. She told him to turn around and see for himself. His death was already waiting, and she seriously doubted there was anyone who could save him now. The assassin froze in terror. His thoughts spiraled. What the hell is behind me? Why is Prisha Edgar talking like that? And why is my entire body shaking like this? He could feel it, something monstrous standing behind him. It was furious, and its rage felt so raw, so violent, as if it wanted to rip him apart right there. When he finally gathered the courage to turn around, his eyes widened in disbelief. He gasped, "You're that maid." Leah, standing firm with eyes glowing, replied calmly. She reminded him that after attacking her young master, did he seriously believe he could just walk away? She said that it was because of him that her young master had been hurt, and what infuriated her the most was that she hadn't been able to do anything in that moment. Now, she declared, she would unleash all that rage on him. The assassin began to panic. He pleaded with her, begging for mercy. He claimed he was just a pawn, and that he'd only done what the Duke Eska had ordered. But before he could finish, Leah raised her hand, and in a flash, she released her power. The assassin's mouth slammed shut, and his entire body lifted into the air, paralyzed. His mind raced in terror. What's happening to me? Why can't I move my body? He realized even breathing was becoming impossible. What kind of magic is this? I've never heard of anything like it. He looked at the girl in front of him and questioned everything. She's just a maid, right? How can a maid wield this kind of power? If someone like her exists, then she can't possibly be normal. At that very moment, Leah completed her spell, and with a thunderous snap, his body exploded midair. Leah's voice echoed in the silence. She said that anyone who dared to hurt her young master would meet the same fate. She vowed that no matter who it was, if Rain was ever harmed because of them, she would kill them with her own hands. Turning to Prisha, Leah said respectfully, Miss Prisha, the young master has been seriously injured. I must go to him now. Please, take care of yourself while I'm gone. Prisha reassured her gently, saying, It's all right. Go to Rain. I can take care of myself here. With a silent nod, Leah turned and left the room. Once she was alone, Prisha glanced toward Gwen and admitted, I think I gave my brother the right warning. Leah should never be provoked. Her anger, it's dangerously intense. I've seen many powerful warriors killed before, but Leah, her methods are both terrifying and fascinating. It takes serious courage to deal with enemies the way she does. Just then, a shimmering portal opened beside her, and Gwen stepped through it. She bowed slightly and said, Miss Prisha, please don't worry. No matter how powerful Leah becomes, or how much Master Rain pushes her, she would never dare to harm him. If anything, she'd choose death before laying a hand on Master Rain. Her loyalty to him is absolute. Her powers exist only to protect him, not to hurt him. No matter how harshly young Master Rain treats her, she'll never hold it against him. Prisha gave a thoughtful smile and said, Listening to you makes it sound like my brother's a horrible person, and Leah's just suffering through it. Gwen quickly waved her hands in protest. No, I didn't mean it like that, Miss Prisha. I would never speak ill of young Master Rain. I only meant to say, Leah is extremely loyal to him. For us, our masters are our entire world. We can't bear to see anything happen to them. Prisha chuckled softly. Honestly, I like you a lot. You're sharp and powerful, too. How about this? What if I arranged your marriage to Rain? That way I'd never have to worry about him again. Knowing you were by his side would guarantee his safety. Gwen blushed deeply and stammered, Miss Prisha, what are you saying? Please, don't joke like that with me. Shifting to a serious tone, Prisha ordered, Gwen, send one of our men to that bastard Eska. He's getting far too bold. He needs to be reminded that laying a hand on the Edgar family comes with consequences. She narrowed her eyes. I don't care if he's become a duke. That doesn't make him worthy of insulting our family. Now that he's crossed the line, he'll have to pay the price. Gwen nodded without hesitation. You don't have to worry. Your message will reach him, and I'm sure once he hears your warning, he'll realize just how badly he's messed up. Prisha took a deep breath and said, All right. We've talked enough. We should head back before Rain finds out we were out here this late. If he does, he'll be furious. Back at Rain's house, the scene shifted to a quiet bedroom where Leah had just finished wrapping Rain's wounds. She looked at him with concern and asked, Young master, how are you feeling? Are you in pain? Rain scoffed. It's just a scratch. You really think something this minor would affect me? I'm not feeling any pain at all. There's no need for you to be troubled. But before he could finish, he accidentally pressed down on the injury and winced. Leah scolded him gently. I told you not to move. The more you move that arm, the more it'll hurt. You need to let it heal properly. Until then, you're not stepping out of this room. Your rest is more important than anything right now. Rain tried to brush it off again. I told you, don't worry. It's a minor injury. It'll heal soon. But Leah's voice trembled slightly as she responded, Young master, this was all my fault. That bastard attacked you while I was right there. If I hadn't rushed ahead to strike, if I'd just stayed by your side, this never would have happened. Just as the room fell quiet again, the door creaked open and Prisha entered. As soon as she reached him, Prisha hurriedly asked Rain to show her where he had been injured. Is the wound serious? Will it affect your future? What did the doctor say? Will you still be able to use your arm? Rain reassured her with a calm smile, telling her not to worry so much. Sister, you're stressing over nothing. It's just a scratch. Nothing serious. The doctor said there's no lasting damage. And look, I can still move my arm just fine. But Leah, who had been standing nearby, wasn't convinced. Her tone turned sharp as she confronted him. Master Rain, how can you say it's nothing? I've been watching you since it happened. You're not taking this seriously at all. Do you realize that if that knife had landed even slightly higher, on your neck instead of your shoulder, we could have lost you forever? Leah's voice trembled with emotion as she continued. You went through a life-threatening incident, and yet you're acting like it was nothing. Young Master Rain, please start taking your life seriously. A lot of people care deeply about you. Prisha nodded firmly in agreement. Leah's right. Rain, your life isn't a joke. You can't afford to treat it like one. You were attacked in your own territory. That's a huge deal. I want to know what happened. Who dared to attack you here, in your own land? Rain explained what had occurred. Rosalind encountered some bandits in the forest. They had brought slaves with them, and were planning to sell them inside our territory. Rosalind fought them off and brought them back. When we interrogated them, they confessed. Turns out they've got dozens more slaves hidden in a house in the valley. Once we found out that more slaves were being held, and their team was still waiting in the valley, we rushed over to catch them all red-handed. At first, we tried to talk things out, but when diplomacy failed, the fight broke out. He recounted how the battle had taken a chaotic turn. While both sides were clashing, one of the bandits used the distraction to sneak up and attack me. It was dark, and everyone was preoccupied, so the blade caught me in the shoulder. Prisha was still in disbelief. They came here, to our territory, to sell slaves? Where did these bandits get the courage to do something like that? Don't they know that within the Edgar family's territory, slave trading is strictly forbidden? That law was passed by our father a long time ago. He hated the slavery system. She clenched her fists, furious. Anyone who dares to bring slaves into our land should face consequences. And if this was done by one of our nobles, then they won't be spared. Leah spoke up. Miss, this time it wasn't one of our nobles. The bandits confessed. They were men from Duke Eska. They brought the slaves from his territory to sell here. Prisha looked stunned. You've got to be kidding me. Duke Eska? That coward? He can barely speak when he's in front of our family. And now you're telling me he had the audacity to send men into our territory, to sell slaves? How could that bastard even think of doing something like this? Rain nodded grimly. He wasn't selling slaves in just anyone's land. He was targeting our city specifically. You know as well as I do, that city used to be under Eldrick's control. That bastard Eldrick did a lot of shady business there, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was in league with Duke Eska. That's probably why Duke Eska's men were so confident when we confronted them. From the way they acted, it was obvious. They had come here with the full intent to break the law. Eldrick's corruption made him rich, but he did it at the cost of destroying this territory. Prisha said that if he hadn't shown up, they would have never realized just how much of a bastard Eldrick truly was. He had been one of their father's closest friends and allies, which is exactly why their father could never bring himself to suspect him. Even after being told how twisted Eldrick was, it had been hard for him to believe it. She added that they were still facing the consequences of Eldrick's betrayal, even now, but at least one good thing had come out of it. Duke Eska's men would never dare step into their territory again. They had learned the hard way that this land wouldn't tolerate them. Then, glancing toward Rain, she asked what he planned to do with the girls they had rescued. Rain replied that for now, they were being kept in a safe location. He said he would personally check on them tomorrow to see how they were doing. After all, due to the constant wars, his territory was severely short on manpower, and because of the lack of labor, he hadn't been able to expand or develop the territory properly. He added that if the girls had families or homes to return to, he would ensure they were escorted back safely, but if they didn't, he planned to first educate them and teach them useful skills, so they could survive more easily within the city. Prisha nodded approvingly, saying that it was a really good idea. She pointed out that the girls were still very young, and if they worked for the city, they could contribute significantly to its growth. More importantly, staying here would keep them safe and give them a chance at a better life. She smiled and said, "Little brother, I have to admit, you're incredibly good at managing the city. I can say with full confidence that this city of yours will go far." Rain laughed softly and told her not to praise him too much. Their family was already full of great people, and just standing beside them meant he had no choice but to give it his all. Prisha smiled and said that he should rest now. She was heading out. Then she grew serious and reminded him to prioritize his safety above all else. For us, the territory, money, and even the family name come second. The most important thing is your life. If anything were to happen to you, the Edgar family would never recover. Remember, you're the heart of this family. Rain gave her a nod and promised, "I'll remember, sister. Don't worry, nothing's going to happen to me here, but trouble is definitely coming for our enemies." Prisha turned to Leah with a warm smile and said, "Now he's in your hands. Please take care of my brother, and more importantly, don't let him overwork himself, not with the territory, and not with you either." Leah blushed and assured her, "Miss Prisha, you don't have to worry. As long as I'm here, nothing bad will happen to the young master. In fact, I promise to be even more careful with his safety from now on. I swear this will be the first and last time he ever gets hurt like this." Prisha nodded, satisfied. "Good, I trust you." As she stepped outside, Gwen approached her and asked with concern, "Miss Prisha, is the young master all right? His injury, it's not too serious, is it?" Prisha reassured her that the injury wasn't too bad. "Luckily, the knife only struck his shoulder, but seeing my brother in that condition, it made my blood boil. If Duke Eska had been standing in front of me, I would have finished him off myself." She clenched her fists and growled that attacking Rain had been Duke Eska's biggest mistake, and for that, she would never forgive him. Then her tone shifted as she called out, "Nox, you can come out now. I need your help with something." Just then, Nox appeared in front of Prisha. He asked respectfully, "Miss, how can I assist you?" Prisha explained that the leader of the bandits had been captured, and was currently held inside the dungeon. She instructed Nox to interrogate him thoroughly and extract all the information he had. "But remember, don't kill him. No matter how brutal he may be, he must stay alive until tomorrow morning. Rain will be questioning him himself, and for that, the man needs to survive." Nox nodded confidently and assured her, "Don't worry, young miss. I'll get everything out of him, without even laying a hand if I have to." The scene transitioned to the next morning. Armando stood before Rain and declared solemnly, "Master Rain, I accept my defeat. As per our deal, I'll work for you from now on, permanently." Just then, Rain, while acting as Armando, says, "I am Armando. I'd rather die than serve a noble. All nobles are corrupt and vile. I have my own ideals, and I'd never stoop so low as to work under a noble. I'd starve before I bowed to one." Armando became quite furious after seeing all of this. Just then, Rain's wound accidentally hurts him. Rain winced and muttered, "This wound still hurts a lot." Armando thought to himself that admitting defeat to this man was harder than he had expected. He once believed Rain to be just another fool, but in truth, Rain was far more intelligent and capable than most. Rain, meanwhile, was observing Armando quietly. He thought, at first, Armando's loyalty was minimal, but now it has risen to 95. And this isn't just because he lost a bet. He's genuinely committed now. If I were a typical noble, I'd be using him like a workhorse. But who said I'm not going to? Time to show him what overtime really means. Armando broke the silence, saying earnestly, Master Rain, I know I was wrong. Please don't joke around with me like that. But may I know, what exactly would you like me to do? Rain became serious and replied, I was joking earlier, yes, but now I'm asking sincerely, do you truly want to work with me? Understand this, you won't be working for me, you'll be working with me, we're all working together to build a better city, so, will you join me in this mission? Moved, Armando replied without hesitation, yes, Master Rain, all my doubts about you are gone, I'm ready to work for, and with you with full loyalty, I give you my word, from today onward, I am completely loyal. At that moment, the system informed Rain that he now had 2 fully loyal subordinates. Rain smiled and said, well then, why delay? Your work begins right now. Starting today, you are the director of our city's first workshop. Shocked, Armando stammered, workshop director? But, what does that even mean, young master? Have you forgotten? I'm an alchemist. I don't know anything besides alchemy. Rain handed him a blueprint and said, take a look at this. You'll understand your role soon enough. Now that the dam is complete, our next goal is industrialization, and for that, we'll need a lot of steam engines. This is the design for one. Armando looked at the blueprint and was stunned. Even my teacher, Mage Liesel, couldn't create a proper design for a steam engine, but young Master Rain has done it effortlessly. He began to wonder, is Rain truly more brilliant than my own teacher? As they discussed, the door opened and Rosalind entered the room, clearly flustered. Rain immediately asked, Rosalind, what's wrong? You look anxious. Rosalind reported, young master, I came to inform you of something urgent. The bandit leader we captured, somehow, he was found dead in the dungeon. Rain's expression changed to shock. What? He's dead? Without delay, Rain made his way to the dungeon. As soon as he stepped inside, his eyes landed on the lifeless body of the bandit leader. He turned to Rosalind and questioned when exactly they had discovered the death, and how they could be sure that it hadn't happened long ago. Rosalind respectfully addressed him as young master and explained that, based on his own instructions, the prisoner had been under constant surveillance. Every half hour, a soldier had been bringing water to check on him and ensure he was alright. It was just about 30 minutes ago that the assigned soldier found the prisoner already dead. As soon as she received the report, she came to inform Rain immediately. Rain then noticed something strange. There was a message scrawled on the dungeon wall. He speculated that whoever killed the bandit had left behind a note, and asked the group if they could decipher it. Selena stepped forward and began recording the strange symbols using her magical powers. She informed everyone that the message had been inscribed using black magic. She revealed that a black magician had entered the dungeon not long ago. Without a doubt, the killer was this very black mage. Rosalind, shocked, asked, a black mage? But they're incredibly rare. Why would one appear here just to kill a mere bandit? Rain responded grimly, saying that there were black mages even within their city. When he needed talented individuals, they were nowhere to be found. Yet when he didn't need them, the city seemed full of them. He admitted that he didn't know much about black mages, and asked the others if they could shed some light on what these mysterious beings actually did. Leah interjected, urging Rain to leave the dungeon as soon as possible. She warned him that black mages were the lowest and most vile type of mages, those who dabbled in forbidden, grotesque arts. She added that just being near a black mage could make someone fall ill. Even staying in a place where one had merely passed through could have harmful effects. She reminded him that he had recently suffered a serious injury, and insisted that remaining here was dangerous for him. Rain tried to downplay her concerns, saying she was overreacting. Most diseases spread in filthy and unhygienic places, but their dungeon was clean, dry, and sterile. In such a place, bacteria couldn't possibly thrive, so it couldn't be dangerous. But Selena stepped in again, supporting Leah's concerns. She said she could feel something ominous in the air. Leah wasn't wrong. Staying here was definitely not safe. They needed to leave immediately. She went on to explain that black mages operated in the gray zone between light and darkness. Though their methods might appear subtle, they were anything but harmless. A cut caused by an ordinary mage would cause physical pain but eventually heal. But a wound inflicted by a black mage was different. It didn't hurt at first, but over time, it would begin to destroy the person from within. Black mages were so powerful, Selena said, that if they wished, they could unleash plagues. Taking them lightly would be foolish. Rain stood silently, deep in thought. So black mages have the power to create epidemics. It seems like they study bacteria. But since this world lacks science, people naturally fear them like monsters, Selena continued, saying they still didn't know why the black mage had killed the bandit leader. If it was simply to silence him, then maybe there wasn't much to worry about. But if there was more to the mage's intentions, they could be in serious trouble. Rain asked what other purpose the killer might have had besides eliminating the bandit. Selena proposed a grim theory. Perhaps the black mage's real target was Rain himself, and their arrival here was part of a grander scheme. That was why they needed to leave. Now, later, Rain arrived at the orphanage of Essling City. Standing before a group of children, he introduced himself. My name is Rain Edgar. I'm the city lord of Essling City. It was I who saved you all from the bandits yesterday. Today, I'm here because I want to talk to you. He looked at them sincerely and offered them 2 choices. First, if any of you know where your home is, please tell me. I'll make sure you're safely returned there. Second, if you don't have a home to return to, you're welcome to stay here in Essling City. I'll provide good food, a safe place to live, and honest work. You'll be able to live happily and independently. If you choose to stay here, you'll never be in danger again. You'll become part of my city, part of my people, and to me, the people of this city are like family. So, children, how many of you still remember where your home is? They saw that all the girls were still visibly afraid. None of them had the courage to speak to Rain. Rain asked gently, "What's wrong with you all? Don't any of you remember where your home is?" Saintess Era stepped forward and explained, "Young master, it's not that they've forgotten. The truth is, these girls are still terrified. Most of them were likely taken from their homes when they were just little children. Ever since, they've known nothing but hardship. People must have tricked and manipulated them over the years. You know how cruel the world can be. It's hard to even imagine what these innocent children have seen. Right now, trusting anyone, especially strangers, is nearly impossible for them. Even if some of them do remember where they came from, fear is holding them back. They're not sure if they can truly trust that you're here to help. Earning their trust, it might take time. Honestly, just looking at them breaks my heart." Rain nodded, visibly moved. He thanked Saintess Era for telling him all this and reassured her not to worry. "It's not going to take us long to gain their trust. In fact, I've got just the idea." But before anything else, he suggested they head to the kitchen to grab some cookies, something sweet for the sweet kids. Who knows? Maybe cookies can help them remember a bit of their past. Later, Rain returned with a tray full of cookies and stood before the group of girls. With a warm smile, he said, "You must all be hungry. These are the tastiest cookies in the entire city. If you'd like, go ahead and try them." The aroma made many of the girls visibly tempted, but none had the courage to step forward. Rain walked up to one of the girls, gently offered her a cookie, and said, "Don't be afraid. Go on. Try it. If you like it, you can have more. And from now on, just think of me as your big brother. As long as you're with your big brother, no one will ever hurt you." Encouraged by his kind tone, the girl finally took a bite. Her eyes lit up with joy as she exclaimed, "This is delicious." One by one, the others followed, each girl taking a cookie and enjoying the comforting taste. Smiles slowly replaced the fear in their eyes. Then Rain suggested, "How about we play a game together? It's called Truth or Dare." One of the girls looked puzzled and asked, "What kind of game is that? I've never heard of it." Rain chuckled and explained, "It's really simple and fun. See, I have a bunch of cards here. Some have questions written on them, others have small dares. If you choose a card, you have to answer the question or complete the task, and for every answer or dare completed, you'll earn a cookie. So, what do you say? Want to play?" Excited murmurs spread among the girls, and soon they all agreed. A few hours later, the atmosphere had changed completely. One of the girls finally spoke up and introduced herself. "My name is Mia. I live in East City, and as far as I remember, my father's name is Glenn Maxwell." Rain smiled warmly and praised her bravery. "That took a lot of courage. Mia, thank you for sharing it with us. Don't worry, you'll be back home very soon. I'm sure your family will be overjoyed to see you." He then turned to Saintess Era and entrusted her with the responsibility of returning the children to their homes. "Please make sure they're safe," Saintess Era assured him. "Don't worry, our church will take care of everything with open arms." As Rain looked around at the others, he thought to himself that many of the children still didn't remember their families, and until they did, it would be up to him and his people to take care of them. "Well, no problem. I'll train them well. Maybe one day they'll grow strong and live good lives." Then he paused and glanced around the large group. With so many kids here, some of them must have hidden talents. He began examining each one carefully, evaluating their potential. "If even one of them turns out to be gifted, my mission will become so much easier." But after checking many of them, he was disappointed. Nothing stood out. Finding true talent was like searching for a diamond in a coal mine, rare and incredibly difficult. All of them seemed ordinary. Discouraged, until his eyes landed on a girl sitting quietly off to the side. He stared at her in surprise. "Wait, what is this?" He wondered how her attributes could possibly be so extraordinary. The girl's name was Alia Ferrano, and she was 17 years old. Her magic power was rated at 88 points, while her strength was at 90 points. Whether one looked at her stats or her appearance, everything about her stood out as exceptional. The scene then shifted to nighttime. Prisha was meeting Knox, who had come to report to her. She reminded him that she had clearly instructed him not to kill the bandit leader. She demanded to know why. Despite her orders, the man had ended up dead. Knox explained that he had not killed the man at all, as ordered. He had merely tortured him using black magic and left him half dead. He was certain the man's death was not his doing. Prisha asked whether the bandit had revealed anything. Knox replied with regret that the man knew absolutely nothing. He said he had tortured him so thoroughly that anyone else would have confessed, but the man kept insisting he had no information. All he did was bring girls for the Dukeska, nothing more. Prisha wondered aloud why, if the man knew nothing, someone would bother killing him. Entering the dungeon just to eliminate such a useless person would have been extremely risky. Why would anyone take such a risk? Knox offered his theory. He believed the bandit leader had not been killed because of any secret knowledge, but rather to activate a special kind of magic spell. He explained that certain forbidden black magic techniques only worked when the target was killed. Such spells allowed the caster to curse people who came near the corpse, eliminating them without direct confrontation. Nox suspected that this was the reason for the murder. Prisha, clearly concerned, instructed Nox to take extra care to protect Rain. As a black mage, he understood exactly how dangerous this could become. Nox assured her that she need not worry. While he was around, no harm would come to the young master. Prisha thought to herself that it was fortunate she was present as well. Solving this matter would require her assistance. It would be far too difficult for Rain to handle everything alone. The scene changed again, this time to Duke Eska's chambers. He was enjoying himself when a soldier entered, apologizing for disturbing him so late at night. The soldier informed him that an important guest had arrived, and insisted on meeting him immediately. Eska, surprised, asked who had come to see him at such an hour. The soldier explained that it was Eldrick, the city lord of Essling City. Eldrick seemed to be in great haste, and had said there was an urgent matter to discuss. Eska was taken aback. Normally Eldrick never came to visit, and when he did, he always brought exceptional gifts. Eska thought to himself that if Eldrick had come personally, it must mean he had brought something extraordinary again. He told the soldier to escort Eldrick to the study, and let him know that the Duke would join him in 2 minutes. The soldier agreed and went to seat Eldrick. As Eska prepared to meet him, he mused that Eldrick always brought beautiful girls as gifts. In Eska's mind, if the world were a garden full of flowers, Eldrick was the gardener who selected only the finest blooms for him. Eska imagined that this time Eldrick might have brought a woman of unmatched beauty, perhaps one he had never even seen before. Excited, Eska could hardly wait to meet his guest, wondering which dazzling beauty awaited him. When Duke Eska entered to meet Eldrick, he remarked that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. He wondered aloud what was so urgent that Eldrick had come to visit in the middle of the night. Eska teased that if Eldrick had brought him a gift, he could have waited until morning, but since he couldn't even wait a single night, the gift must be extraordinary. Eska impatiently urged him to reveal what he had brought, admitting he could hardly wait to see it. Eldrick apologized for disturbing the Duke so late, saying he knew it was the middle of the night and that he was interrupting Eska's enjoyment. However, he insisted the matter was so important he couldn't wait even 5 minutes, let alone until morning. Eldrick added that this time he hadn't brought beautiful girls as a gift, something that would now be impossible for him to arrange. Instead, he had come to deliver an urgent message. Eska was surprised and asked what could be so serious that Eldrick had to wake him at this hour. Eldrick revealed that he was no longer the city lord of Essling City. A few days earlier, Rain Edgar, the youngest son of Grand Duke Alferia, had arrived and immediately uncovered every corrupt deed Eldrick had committed. As a result, Eldrick had been thrown out of the city and had barely escaped with his life. Because of that, he no longer had the power to procure gifts for Eska. Eska was shocked and questioned how this could have happened. He pointed out that Grand Duke Aeferia trusted Eldrick deeply, and trusting such a vast territory to him, Eska could not believe that Grand Duke Aeferia would expel him merely on his son's word. Eldrick responded that Eska should not be surprised. Rain Edgar was extremely intelligent and resourceful. He had quickly gathered evidence of every misdeed and presented it to his father, leaving Grand Duke Alferia with plenty of reasons to cast Eldrick out. Eldrick added that the young man had essentially taken full control of the city, showing himself to be confident, shrewd, and dangerously capable. Eldrick then shared more alarming news. Using secret routes, he had entered Essling City the previous day and killed the bandit leader, the same man who used to deliver slaves from Eska's lands under their treaty. Eska was stunned, realizing that if Rain Edgar had captured their men, he might have already discovered years of illegal dealings. Eldrick confirmed that this was highly likely, warning that by now everyone probably knew of Eska's crimes. He explained that he had risked his life to deliver this information personally. Eska nervously asked whether Eldrick was implying that Rain Edgar could attack him at any moment, likely with a political strike rather than direct violence. Eldrick agreed, pointing out that their emperor strictly opposed slavery, and had explicitly forbidden anyone from keeping slaves. Yet Eska and his allies had been openly selling ordinary people into bondage. Everyone knew Eska was on bad terms with Grand Duke Alferia, and Rain Edgar would surely exploit this opportunity by reporting everything to the king. Eldrick reminded Eska of what would happen once the king learned the truth. Eska panicked, realizing that if the emperor discovered his crimes, he would surely have him executed. He admitted there would be no chance of survival if the matter reached the throne. Desperately, he demanded Eldrick's advice on how to solve the problem. Since Eldrick had come all this way, Eska assumed he must have an excellent plan. Eldrick confirmed that he did. He claimed to have a strategy that would kill the snake without breaking the stick, meaning it would eliminate their enemies without exposing themselves. He explained that since taking control of the city, Rain Edgar had undertaken many projects, one of which was constructing a dam. That dam project was now complete, and Eldrick insisted it presented the perfect opportunity to destroy their rivals. Eska was shocked when he heard Eldrick's plan and asked what a dam was. He admitted it was the first time he had even heard of such a thing. Eldrick explained that Rain had told him a dam was a place where large amounts of water could be stored. A dam was powerful enough to both prevent floods and create them. In summer, when water was scarce, it could also provide irrigation for farmlands. While a dam had many benefits, Eldrick noted, it had one deadly flaw. If destroyed, it could unleash a sudden and devastating flood. The destruction would be so abrupt and overwhelming that no one would be prepared. countless people would die, and the entire city would be wiped out. Eldrick suggested that while the city was dealing with this disaster, Eska should secretly send soldiers to finish the job. He argued that the city would not be able to handle two crises at once, and Rain would be eliminated permanently. Eska leapt to his feet in outrage, calling Eldrick insane. He asked if Eldrick was seriously suggesting he send soldiers to assassinate Grand Duke Aetheria's son. Eska warned that killing the young man would be no different from leaping into a pit of death. If Grand Duke Aetheria discovered that his son had been murdered, Eska's entire family would be wiped out, not just himself. Eldrick countered by asking if Eska truly feared Grand Duke Aetheria more than the Emperor. He reminded Eska that if Rain Edgar exposed his crimes to the Emperor, Eska would be executed within a single day and replaced without hesitation. Eldrick urged him to accept the plan, calling it flawless. They would destroy the dam, causing chaos and casualties, then quietly send soldiers to eliminate Rain. Everyone would believe Rain died in the flood, and no one would ever suspect Eska. Not only would Eska survive, but Grand Duke Aetheria's family would be disgraced. Eldrick added that most people did not even understand what a dam really was, so when the city was destroyed, Rain's reputation would suffer as well. The Emperor might even demote Grand Duke Aetheria, which could allow Eldrick to regain his lost position. Eldrick promised Eska that if this happened, he would personally bring the most beautiful women in the world to his feet, assuring him that his skills and connections would not disappoint. Eska admitted grimly that Eldrick was right. He was trapped between a well and a cliff, with danger on both sides. Following Eldrick's plan seemed to be the only way forward. The scene then shifted to Rain's office. Alia was sitting there calmly, eating cookies. Rain observed that for 3 days, the girl had come to his office every day, silently eating cookies without speaking a single word. Rain finally asked her how the cookies tasted, wondering if she liked them. Alia froze, but said nothing in response. Rain thought to himself that something terrible must have happened to her. Those vile bandits must have hurt her so badly that she was now afraid to even open her mouth. He silently vowed not to let them go unpunished. Just then, a young woman entered and informed Rain that the construction of the dam had been completed. Rain looked at the dam's documents and said, "Finally, it's complete. Honestly, I've been waiting a long time to hear some good news. And at last, we've got it. Leah, go quickly and inform the Elf Queen that the dam is ready. I want the elves and the people of Essling City to witness this incredible moment together. I want to announce to the entire world that our Essling City is no longer what it once was. With the opening of this dam, a golden era for our city begins. All our hard work over these many days is finally about to pay off." Leah replied, "All right, young master, I'll inform everyone." Rain continued, "Alia, we're all going to a wonderful event. Would you like to come with us and enjoy it? You know, there's going to be amazing food there, and the best part is, there will be lots of kids your age. You can play with them, make friends, and there's no need for you to stay alone all day. So tell me, Alia, will you come to this event with us?" But even after hearing Rain say so much, Alia remained silent. Rain thought to himself, it's going to take even longer for her to recover. Rain said gently, "If you don't want to come, that's fine. I'll leave 2 people here to look after you. If you feel like coming later, just tell them. They'll bring you straight to the dam." The scene shifts to the dam. We see Elf Queen and the others arriving to see it. Elf Queen said, "Rain, I have a doubt. This dam looks so small. Are you sure it can hold back so much water? Honestly, we elves have seen many floods. We've watched water carve its way even through mountains to reach us, so to imagine that a single dam can stop it all, it's hard to believe." Rain reassured her, "Elf Queen, don't worry at all. I understand that you've seen a lot in your life, but trust me, this dam can withstand anything. I designed it myself, making sure to account for every detail. I followed the laws of physics carefully and poured all my engineering knowledge into this project. That's why I can confidently say there's nothing wrong with this dam. Believe me, today you're going to witness the power of science. Water that even towering mountains can't hold back. This dam will stop it, and not only will it hold the water, it will generate energy and allow us to control the flow." Just then, Selena arrived and reported, "Young master, all the tasks you ordered have been completed. You told us to install 3 large stone slabs over the dam's outlet, as per your instructions. We've placed massive slabs there. This will help us control the water flow even better. The water won't rush straight down anymore. Instead, it will hit the stone slabs first and descend gradually. At first, I didn't really understand why those slabs were necessary, but while installing them, I realized that if water falls too quickly, it can damage the dam or create a dangerously fast current that veers off course. Now, with these slabs in place, none of that will happen." Rain smiled and said, "Selena, you're really smart. You understand everything I explained so well." He then turned to Elf Queen and Prisha. "I'm so glad both of you are here. Thank you for coming to the opening ceremony of my dam. Today, together, we're going to witness something that will change the fate of this city. What happens here will be remembered in history as the day humanity's destiny took a new turn. The day we stepped into a new era." Elf Queen replied, "Rain, I understand your excitement, but seeing this massive volume of water still makes me nervous. On the other side of the dam, there's just too much water. The moment we open the gates, it will all try to rush out, putting immense pressure on the dam. I hope everything goes well, but there's a high chance of complications. You know what will happen if anything goes wrong. The entire crop behind us will be destroyed, and the whole city will flood, and it will be a flood no one is prepared for." Prisha added, "Yes, Rain, Elf Queen is absolutely right. This dam is holding back a huge amount of water. Simply opening the gates and releasing it. Are you sure it's safe? I agree. If everything goes perfectly, this will be a tremendous success. But if there's even a single problem, millions of lives will be in danger, and we can't afford to gamble with so many lives. Rain said, I understand your concerns, but trust me, nothing is going to go wrong here. If you think this water level is too high, you're mistaken. In reality, the dam is holding only about 50% of its full capacity. It can store far more water than this. That's why I can say with absolute certainty, this water poses no threat to the dam. Relax and enjoy yourselves. It's not as if we built this dam blindly. Before construction, we tested scale models many times. I personally ensured its safety after extensive trials and simulations, so I can say with confidence, this dam will not fail. We've already prepared an outlet to release the water. Once the gates open, it will flow out in a controlled path, and this water will be a huge help to our farmers, even in the peak of summer. They'll never face shortages. They'll be able to grow whatever crops they want, without worrying about irrigation. So, what do you say? Shall we open the dam? The Elf Queen replied, of course. Why delay a good thing? We're just as eager to witness this historic moment. The three of them moved forward to open the gates, but just as they were about to do it, a voice called out from the side. Rain turned and said, Eldrick, you here? Eldrick smiled. How have you been, young Master Rain? It's been a long time since we met. Rain muttered. What is Eldrick doing here? The Elf Queen asked. Why are you so shocked? Who is this man? Prisha explained. His name is Eldrick. He managed this city before Rain took charge, but after Rain discovered he was a traitor, he banished him. Rain said coldly, Eldrick, honestly, I didn't expect you to still be alive. I thought you were killed in the last war. Seems I was wrong. You're tougher than I gave you credit for. Still, I can't figure out why you've come here. Eldrick replied, Master Rain, I've joined the Orvis Empire now, and they've even granted me noble status. Rain smirked. If they've taken you in, then why are you here? Don't tell me you suddenly prefer surrendering to me over living as one of their nobles. We wouldn't take you back anyway. Keeping you in prison would just waste our food supply. Eldrick laughed. You think I came here to surrender? That's the best joke I've ever heard. I'm not here to give up. I'm here to take revenge. I'm here to destroy you all. Rain chuckled. Revenge? Alone? Seems like spending time with the Orvis Empire has made you just as delusional as they are. You couldn't even carry a single brick out of this place by yourself, let alone destroy it. Eldrick sneered. Laugh while you can, because you won't be laughing after what happens next. Did you really think I'd attack this dam alone? I'm not stupid. I've brought plenty of people with me, powerful magicians who've already surrounded this place, and every one of them specializes in water element magic. All it takes is a single signal from me, and they'll unleash a massive water element spell on this dam. You're smart enough to understand what that means. But for the slower ones here, let me spell it out. This dam is already full of water. My mages don't need to destroy it directly. They'll just accelerate the water's flow and build up enormous pressure. In no time, that pressure will be so intense that the dam will collapse completely. You boasted to everyone that this dam would be a miracle, that it would change the fate of this city. But instead, this miracle will destroy the entire city. I can't even calculate how many people will die when this dam bursts. Elf Queen, visibly shocked, said, Young Master Rain, what is this man even talking about? Prisha spoke in anger. Eldrick, if you really do this, take my word for it. The Edgar family doesn't care where you run. They'll hunt you down and kill you like a dog, and your name will go down in history for this disgrace. So think 100 times before you act. This move of yours will cost you dearly. Eldrick laughed. What's wrong, young lady Prisha? Are you scared? Your fear is written all over your face. I may not be able to terrify Alferia, but frightening his children, now that's satisfying. I wanted to see the same expression on Alferia's face, but seeing it on yours gives me plenty of satisfaction. He went on, grinning. I don't care what you do in the future. What matters is that, starting today, you'll all be ruined, and the best part, you'll watch your own downfall unfold right in front of you. Saying this, Eldrick sent out a signal. As soon as my mages receive this, the dam will burst, and you will all die. We see the moment Eldrick's signal explodes in the sky, and the dam's water flow suddenly accelerates. Panicked, Elf Queen cried, Young Master Rain, we have to get out of here. I don't think it's safe to stay on this dam any longer. If we don't leave quickly, we might be the ones who die here. Rain spoke calmly. None of you need to panic. It doesn't matter how much pressure Eldrick tries to put on this dam, or how much water he releases. This dam will never break. I built it myself, and I know its strength better than anyone. Elf Queen protested. Young Master Rain, this is about everyone's lives here. All three of us are lords of our own territories, and if something happens to us because of this dam, it could create massive problems down the line. Rain replied firmly. To tell you the truth, I suspected my enemies would try to use this dam against me. That's why I planned for every possible safety measure. Inside this dam, every stone slab is reinforced to keep the water from accelerating, and to strengthen each slab, I've installed iron gears within them. Every calculation has been made perfectly. There's no chance of error. Even the most dangerous flood wouldn't harm this dam, so this is nothing. But then, a massive wave reached them. At that very moment, Rain opened the dam gates, letting the water gradually flow out. As soon as the torrent hit the first slab, it shattered. Laughing, Eldrick said, What happened, Rain? Weren't you overly confident about your dam? Looking at it now, I doubt it'll hold much longer. The Elf Queen urged. Young Master Rain, no matter how powerful the dam is, it can't withstand such a flood. Please, let's leave now, or we'll all be swept away. Prisha added. Yes, Rain. Elf Queen's right. Come with me immediately. Staying here is too risky. But Rain stood firm. I've told you before, and I'll say it again, don't panic. This amount of water isn't enough to destroy my dam. The volume needed to break it could never accumulate here. Eldrick, I expected more from your flood, but clearly, it can't do a thing. However, cracks began spreading through the second slab. Eldrick sneered, Rain, you're a strange man. I don't know what stubbornness drives you. You see your dam breaking, yet you're still arrogant enough to believe it's invincible. Well, if you enjoy watching it fall apart, let me help you. With that, Eldrick launched another vicious attack on the water, accelerating its flow. The pressure shattered the second slab as well. Elf Queen panicked. Miss Prisha, what do we do? The second slab is gone. If the last one breaks, the entire dam will take the full force. Prisha pleaded, Rain, why won't you listen? Nobody's saying your creation is useless. We're only saying this place isn't safe right now. Rain remained calm. Sister, Elf Queen, just wait a little longer. You'll soon understand why I'm so confident, why I know nothing can break this dam. Eldrick growled, then I'll crush your dam along with that confidence. He struck the water again, smashing the third slab. Terrified, Elf Queen cried, the last slab is gone. What happens now? Yet Prisha noticed something strange. Rain, why hasn't the dam collapsed? I thought all that pressure would hit it directly, but even after the slabs broke, it's still intact. Rain laughed. Sister, this is exactly what I've been saying all along. The real game hasn't even started yet. Trust me, the look on Eldrick's face is about to get priceless. Suddenly, mechanical parts hidden inside the dam activated. Shocked, Eldrick shouted, what's going on? This was just a stone wall holding back water. Why am I hearing gears moving? From beneath the ground, a secondary dam emerged, redirecting the entire flood and evenly distributing it. Prisha was stunned. What just happened? That raging torrent, strong enough to destroy a whole city, has completely stabilized. It's flowing gently into the farmlands. Rain smirked. Eldrick, thank you so much. You know, if you hadn't shown up, my constructs would have had to work very hard to raise the water level. We needed more flow to irrigate our farmland, but you handled that for free. I honestly don't know how to thank you. You've made my work incredibly easy. Eldrick, still in disbelief, roared, you used my magic against me? Did you actually turn my flood into something useful? Rain answered, you must have thought I built a simple stone wall just to hold or release water as I pleased. But Eldrick, this dam is far from simple. It wasn't designed merely to block water, but to control and use it efficiently. No matter how big the flood, all of it will be diverted only into the fields. Even if an enormous deluge comes, not a single drop will reach the city. It'll all go to the farmland. That's why your flood just irrigated our crops. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Eldrick snarled, impossible. How can anyone use a flood for their own benefit? Floods have always brought disaster, yet you're using one as a tool. Rain says with a smirk, looking at your face, it seems your grand plan just fell apart. You probably came here thinking I'd be on my knees, begging you for mercy, watching my entire city get destroyed. But sadly for you, just like last time, you've been humiliated again. I almost feel bad seeing you so helpless. If you still want to try something, go ahead. You've got enough time, but don't expect me to give you another chance after this. As Eldrick walks away, he says coldly, Rain Edgar, you were very lucky today. But next time we meet, your luck will run out. You will kneel before me and admit you made a huge mistake crossing me. Until then, enjoy your life while you can. Rain calls out, you came here whenever you felt like it, and now you're walking away on your own whim. Did you forget this isn't some private park your father built? You can't just barge in and leave whenever it pleases you. Then turning to Selena, he says sharply, Selena, this coward shouldn't escape so easily this time. Hit him hard. Make sure he remembers this. Selena bows slightly. As you command, young master. She unleashes a deadly lightning spell at Eldrick. As Eldrick glances back, he mutters to himself, was Selena here as well? The attack slams into his body. Rain then turns to Elf Queen and says calmly, Sister, Elf Queen, our dam gates opened perfectly. Now it's time to discuss what I actually called you here for. Let's head home and talk business and investments. Later, in Rain's study room, Elf Queen speaks earnestly, Young Master Rain, I'll be honest. At first I didn't trust your words. But this dam, it opened my eyes. I've seen floods sweep away mountains, and yet your dam stopped them. Truly remarkable. Because of this, I now have complete faith in you. Prisha adds, yes, Rain, I fully trust your plans now, but I want to know exactly how you intend to cooperate with us. You mentioned investment. What exactly do you mean by that? Rain explains, I built this dam for one main reason. You all know that every year, Essling City suffered from floods. No one wanted to work in a place where disasters hit regularly, not even farmers. But now, thanks to the dam, that problem is solved. We've taken the first step toward developing our city. Now we need to focus on one goal, making our city economically strong. The Elf Queen responds, Young Master Rain, the only way to gain economic strength is to establish various businesses. Do you plan to turn Essling City into a trade hub? Rain shakes his head. No, setting up new businesses from scratch takes too much time. Instead of building everything ourselves, we can profit from businesses that are already established. Prisha asks curiously, so you're saying we should earn revenue from the merchants and caravans that pass through our city? But there are very few ways to do that, like increasing tolls. If we suddenly raise tolls too high, it'll only hurt trade. Businessmen will avoid us. Even Caesar and his men were doing something similar before, charging high tolls without your permission. You hated that. So why suggest something similar now? Rain corrects her firmly, you're misunderstanding me. I said we'll earn from business, not by raising tolls. My plan is to build a strong community within our city that serves merchants and caravans so well that they'll willingly spend a large portion of their profits right here. That way, they won't feel exploited, and will still earn handsomely. Later, Rain took Elf Queen to the ruins near the old casinos. He explained, this is the only path merchants use to cross our city and reach Border Fortress. Right now, it looks abandoned and in ruins, but once, this place was home to our city's largest casino. Because of its location, the casino made huge profits. Now that it's destroyed, we're left with plenty of empty land. If we build a community here to serve passing merchants and caravans, helping them with whatever they need, I'm certain they'll come and spend a lot of money. Elf Queen said, but this place looks like nothing but ruins. You mentioned its location was highly beneficial, so why was the casino destroyed in the first place? Rain thought to himself, how do I tell her the casinos weren't ruined naturally, they were destroyed by me? If I tell her, she'll panic. I'd better flip the story. So he said, the casino was very profitable, but the owners were terrible businessmen. Because of their poor management, people eventually stopped coming, and the place went bankrupt. But that won't happen with us. We know how to run a business, and I'll personally manage everything. So there won't be any problems with our venture. The Elf Queen then asked, you explained that a community will be built here to help caravans. But what exactly will be constructed? What kind of services are you talking about? Rain smiled, that's a very good question. I've already planned everything. Look at this map, you'll see what we're going to build along this route. First, we'll have motels where merchants can rest safely with their caravans. The motels will take full responsibility for their goods, which is why they'll prefer to stay here. Second, we'll build stables for their horses, so they can rest too, without merchants worrying about them. Third, instead of forcing them to cook after long journeys, we'll open restaurants where they can enjoy good meals. On top of that, there will be treatment facilities for their goods, communication services, and much more. In short, this place will be a heaven for merchants. Everything they need will be available right here. That's why I'm confident they'll stay and spend money. The Elf Queen admitted, it does sound impressive. Rain continued, do you know the best part? Every day, countless caravans pass through our border. If we build this as planned, our daily profits will be incredible. Soon, we'll have enough investment to industrialize the entire city, opening new industries, creating jobs, and benefiting everyone. And to make all this happen, we only need to focus on one thing, making transportation easier for people. The Elf Queen asked, but how does this benefit us? Everything you've said so far seems good for you and your people. I don't see any direct advantage for us. Rain answered, if merchants stay here, there will be a surge in trade. More importantly, this place will become a hub for grain distribution. According to my calculations, within a year we'll have enough green resources to feed your elf clan for the next 10 years. Your biggest problem is food shortage, isn't it? I can assure you, once this project is complete, food scarcity will disappear forever. Shocked, the Elf Queen asked, this place will become a hub for green distribution, and food shortage will truly end forever? Rain nodded, exactly. Once caravans learn they can rest, eat, and resupply here, I guarantee even more will pass through our city. To attract them, I'll even cut the toll fees in half. Since we'll be making plenty from trade, we don't need toll revenue. And as more merchants arrive, trade will flourish. Soon, our city will have everything available at cheap prices. That's the beauty of high-volume trade. Prices go down, not up. Along with this project, we'll also build a direct route from our Essling city to your elf clan border, making travel extremely convenient for caravans. That way, both of our borders will become key trade routes. When caravans start arriving on your side too, your local markets will expand, and you'll be able to do direct business with them. The Elf Queen thought to herself, our people have everything, but the one thing we lack is food. Food shortages return again and again. If this problem is solved, our lives will become so much better. Rain said, Elf Queen, a very wise man once said, if you want to become rich, build roads. If you create trade routes, everyone around you will benefit. I guarantee that within just 6 months of starting this project, you'll see the difference with your own eyes. The Elf Queen replied, if that's the case, then fine. I'm ready to invest. If this route can truly solve our food problems, I have no issue supporting you. Rain smiled, thank you very much for trusting me. By the way, how much do you plan on investing in my project? The sooner we get the funds, the sooner the work can begin. Elf Queen answered, as an initial investment, I'll give you 150,000 gold coins. If I see that the project is running smoothly with this amount, I'll have no problem investing further. Rain thought to himself, 150,000 gold coins just as a starting investment. It looks like these elves really are wealthy. She clearly said this is only the beginning. Just how much money has this race hidden away? The Elf Queen added, but let me make one thing clear. I want full details of all the expenses involved in this construction project. To make sure the work is done properly, I'll also send some of my people for supervision. Rain reassured her, don't worry at all. This is my city, and I personally oversee every task here. I can guarantee your money will be used in the right place. Later, Rain returned home. Happily, he said, Leah, guess what? Elf Queen agreed to invest. Now our city is really going to advance. Leah smiled, I knew it. You're too clever. If you've made a plan, no one can refuse it. Truly, our city is going to grow so much. Rain nodded, yes, you're right. For now, the investment issue is solved, but we need to make sure we properly manage the funds coming in. Do one thing, go call Selena. She might be able to help us handle the investment. Soon after, Selena arrived. She asked curiously, young Master Rain, what exactly does cooking the books mean? Rain was surprised. You're so smart, and you don't know what cooking the books means? Don't tell me you've never studied math. Selena looked down sadly. I'm sorry, young Master Rain, but honestly, I don't understand what you're saying. I know about curses. I know about magic. But when it comes to mathematics, I understand nothing. Rain turned to Armando. Armando, surely you know about this, right? But Armando admitted, you made me the director of the workshop, but I still don't understand what I'm supposed to do. This new task is completely beyond me. Rain sighed in frustration. I'm doomed. These two are supposed to be the smartest and most talented people in my city, and they don't even know what cooking the books means. The elves are giving me such a huge investment, I don't need to spend it all. If I save some of it, it could be very useful for our future. After all, problems always keep coming to the city. Leah suggested, young Master Rain, from the way you're talking, it sounds like you're dealing with some economic issue. If you need help with this, you could ask Lady Prisha. She has plenty of clever people under her who are surely skilled in cooking the books. But Rain shook his head. No, I can't ask her for help. I trust my sister, but not the people she sends. This is the kind of work that should only be handled by someone I personally trust. The fewer people who know about it, the better. Do one thing, Leah. Tomorrow, bring all the merchants of our city to me. One of them can surely handle this job. The scene then shifted. We saw a girl thinking to herself, so this is the Essling city of Rain Edgar. I don't care what price I have to pay, but now that I've arrived here, I will free my father, Duke Castile. And Rain Edgar, you yourself will consent to this. As she moved deeper into the bustling city, she noticed unusual excitement all around. Stopping a passerby, she asked why there was so much activity and whether some kind of festival was taking place. The man explained that she must not be from the city, which was why she didn't know. Today, their city lord, young Master Rain, had announced an accounting exam. Everyone had been invited to participate, and all the city's scholars and merchants were hurrying there. Curious, the Duke's daughter asked why so many people were interested in giving the exam. She wondered aloud if young Master Rain had promised some kind of reward. The man replied that while he did not know all the details, he had heard that anyone who passed the exam would be granted the opportunity to work alongside the young master. Moreover, Rain had even declared that he would fulfill one wish for the person who succeeded. The citizens, he added, trusted Rain completely, for he never went back on his word. That was why the whole city was eager to attempt the test. Hearing this, the Duke's daughter thought to herself that if the city lord was willing to grant one wish, perhaps this was her chance. If she managed to pass the exam, then maybe Rain would honor her request and release her father. Seeing the people's unshakable faith in him, she decided that she too should give it a try. At that moment, groups of townsfolk rushed past her, urging one another to hurry, warning that if someone else passed the exam first, their opportunity would be lost. The Duke's daughter resolved to follow along, deciding to see the situation firsthand before making her final decision. The scene then shifted to the examination hall. Merchants from across the city sat in rows, busy writing their answers. Watching them, Rain thought to himself that he had personally prepared this exam. He had filled the paper with the kind of accounting and construction-related problems these merchants would actually face in practice. If they could solve them here, then they would also be able to manage accounts, and prevent or conceal errors at construction sites in the future. Rain's mind worked like a businessman's. He imagined merchants explaining the city's profits each quarter, just as corporate managers did. He envisioned them managing accounts while he only had to review the results, like a company boss checking the ledgers. Though he was capable of handling the work himself, he admitted that one man alone could not do everything. If all the merchants worked together, then the city would advance. He was confident that among so many participants, some true talent was bound to emerge. Suddenly, one merchant rushed forward, declaring that he had completed his paper. The others were astonished. Some muttered that they hadn't even finished reading all the questions, while this man had already answered everything. Another merchant recognized him, saying he was the owner of a brothel, and admitted he had not expected his calculations to be so sharp. Rain too had believed that a city as large as theirs must surely have hidden geniuses, and now one seemed to have appeared before him. But when he examined the paper, his confidence vanished. He was shocked to find the sheet completely blank. The merchant bowed apologetically and explained that he had read through the exam 3 times, but could not understand a thing. Rain asked in irritation whether he could not even comprehend the questions, and why he had even participated if that was the case. The merchant replied that he personally handled all his brothel's accounts and thought he would do well in this exam, but the words used in the paper were too complicated. Terms like depreciation, balance sheet, and liquidity went entirely over his head. Rain grew increasingly annoyed. He thought to himself that the whole point of hiring these merchants was so that he could exploit the accounts when necessary. If everything were simple and straightforward, he would not have gone through the trouble of designing such a large-scale exam. Just then, another participant respectfully informed him that the other merchants had also finished writing. Rain began reviewing their papers, but his frustration only deepened. Not a single one of their answers was even remotely correct. Muttering in anger, he wondered what nonsense these fools had written. Rain grew increasingly frustrated. In anger, he tore up all the answer sheets. He thought to himself that these fools were the ones running businesses, yet none of them even understood accounting. He was certain their shops must be suffering losses, but because of their poor bookkeeping, they probably didn't even realize how much money they were losing. He had believed that in his Essling city, he would surely find a few people skilled in accounting, But now it seemed he had been completely wrong. There wasn't a single person in the entire city who could handle it properly. Watching this unfold, the Duke's daughter reflected that the merchants here seemed rather foolish. From the look on Rain's face, it was clear that he was not satisfied with any of their answers. She wondered what kind of questions he had written that none of the city's merchants could solve. Since not one of them had been able to please him, she realized this might be the perfect opportunity for her. Stepping forward, she asked the soldier if she could also take the exam. The soldier demanded to know who she was. She replied that she was just a traveler passing through the city and felt like trying her hand at the test. If the rules allowed, she wanted permission to join. The soldier answered that young Master Rain had announced anyone could participate, except for elves. So if she wished to try, she was free to do so. However, he warned her clearly that so far, not a single participant had been able to answer the questions correctly. Ignoring the warning, the Duke's daughter sat down for the exam. Looking at the paper, she thought in surprise that the questions were essentially asking how to evade taxes legally. It became clear to her that the city lord wanted to create false accounts, which explained why the entire exam had been designed this way. She recalled the rumors she had once heard, that Rain was different from other nobles, considered far better and more honorable. But this paper proved otherwise. He was just as corrupt as the rest, seeking ways to manipulate accounts and amass personal wealth. Still, she knew this played to her advantage. In the Orvis Empire, from where she came, everyone created false accounts. She was well trained in such matters, so solving these questions would be easy for her. She thought that if passing the test could open a path to saving her father, then her own pride or integrity meant nothing. For her father's life, she would even use her knowledge to assist Rain in his schemes. In her heart, she resolved that Rain Edgar would finally get the answers he had been seeking. Meanwhile, Rain continued reviewing the papers. He had already checked over 500, yet not a single one had satisfied him. With thousands of merchants in the city, he wondered in frustration whether not even one of them understood accounting. Just then, the Duke's daughter, signing the exam under the name, Vilvina, stepped forward and asked Rain to check her paper. When Rain looked at it, he was stunned. He thought to himself that this girl must be a genius. She had answered every question perfectly, and in fact, her solutions were far better than his own. If he recruited her, she could be invaluable in building his first set of accounts. Her answers revealed a clear mastery of cooking the books. Reading her name, Rain asked aloud who Miss Vilvina was and where she came from. She calmly replied that she was a noble from the Orvis Empire. The soldiers immediately grew alarmed. They exclaimed that she was from an enemy empire and demanded to know her true purpose in coming to their city. Some even moved forward, suggesting she should be captured at once since her intentions were unknown. But Rain raised his hand and told them to wait. He said they could not judge whether she was a friend or foe simply based on her origins. Turning to her, he asked Miss Vilvina directly what her purpose was in coming here. If her intentions seemed reasonable, then perhaps they could talk further. Vilvina responded that she had come to negotiate. Rain considered this and remarked that she wished to negotiate, but he wanted to know exactly what she intended to negotiate about. Rain and Vilvina have arrived at Rain's office. Rain said, "Miss Vilvina, I must admit something. All of the answers you gave were absolutely brilliant. No amount of praise would be enough. But tell me, where did you gain such incredible financial knowledge? To write answers that perfect in such a short time, are you perhaps also a financial advisor in the Empire?" Vilvina replied, "Young Master Rain, thank you for the compliment. Honestly, I don't think I'm that special. I'm not an advisor, I simply have knowledge of finance, and I genuinely enjoy studying it." Rain thought to himself, she isn't even an advisor? Incredible. The Orvis Empire nobles must be fools for overlooking such talent. Her answers were even better than mine, and in my past life I was an engineer, so I had at least some knowledge of accounting. But compared to her, my solutions were far inferior. Let's see just how smart this girl really is. Just then, the system revealed her details. Vilvina Carlisle, 18 years old. Most attributes normal, but strategy at 92 points. Special attribute, mathematics. Rain realized, that explains it. A strategy score of 92 is already exceptional, and with mathematics as her special attribute, she's perfectly suited for finance. No matter what it takes, I'll make sure she stays by my side. This way, I can complete the system's task much faster. Rain then asked, earlier in the hall, you mentioned you came here to negotiate. May I know what your empire wishes to discuss? Vilvina answered, you already know, Lord Rain. There's only one topic, the Grand Duke's Castile. The Orvis Empire wants you to release our Grand Duke Castile. In return, we're prepared to offer you a great amount of gold. Whatever price you name, I'll convey it to my empire. Rain smirked, so that's why you came. You want me to give up the Grand Duke's Castile for money. But there's a problem, I have no need for gold. If that's all you're offering, then I will never release Grand Duke Castile. If you have something better to propose, I'm listening. Vilvina thought nervously, he doesn't want money? Then what else could he want? Wait, of course, he must want land. That's obvious. But I was only authorized to negotiate with gold, not territory. If he asks for land, what will I do? She replied cautiously, young Master Rain, I have nothing else to offer right now. But if you have specific conditions, tell me. I'll take them back to my Orvis Empire so we can fulfill them. Rain leaned forward, Miss Vilvina, giving up the Grand Duke's Castile is not an issue for me, but in exchange, I want you. Shocked, Vilvina exclaimed, what? Young Master Rain, what did you just say? Rain calmly explained, listen, my request is very reasonable. I don't need money, I already have plenty. What I need is talent. With someone like you by my side, wealth will come naturally. That's why, instead of gold, I want you. Vilvina thought, is he joking? I came here to take Grand Duke Castile, and instead, he wants to keep me here? She said sternly, Lord Rain, are you trying to insult me? I am a noble of my empire, loyal to my country. Bowing to an enemy lord would be treason, and I cannot betray my homeland. Rain replied firmly, I'm not joking. I never make light of serious matters. I value talent above all, and I cannot stand to see it wasted. That's why I made you this offer. Vilvina was torn. It's hard to tell if he's teasing me or truly serious. But looking at his expression, he seems deadly serious. Still, how can I possibly agree to this condition? If I refuse, will he still release Grand Duke Castile? She asked. If I reject your offer, will these negotiations still continue? Rain shook his head. No. In that case, the talks will end here. Vilvina thought, he's clever. He made his intentions absolutely clear. But what should I do now? Rain pressed further. Vilvina, just by coming here, you've proven your talent. As I said before, I deeply value gifted individuals. I want people like you to join me, to help grow the city. Not only will it benefit me, but also you. If we grow together, you'll rise with us. We will build a city where everyone will want to come. Not war, not fighting, only peace and prosperity. Vilvina said, Lord Rain, I truly admire your vision, but forgive me, I cannot join you. Rain asked, and why not? If it's because you think your honor will be tarnished, that's nonsense. In today's world, who cares about such things? Vilvina shook her head. The reality is I didn't come here by choice. I was forced. My father, a noble of Orvis Empire, was imprisoned, and I was given one condition, bring back the Grand Duke's Castile at any cost. If I succeed, my father will be released. If I fail, my father and family will not survive. That is why returning is so important to me. Rain thought, I see. If the reason is this serious, no matter what I say, she won't agree to stay. They say if something can't be fixed with a straight finger, you bend it. Looks like I'll have to do the same. Vilvina reminded him, Lord Rain, you once promised that whoever solved your questions would be granted a wish. I solved your paper. Will you not fulfill my wish? You're a noble of your word. I trust you won't go back on your promise. Rain nodded. You're right. Since I gave my word, I'll keep it. Release the Grand Duke. Soldiers, escort him out. Miss Vilvina, arrange for his departure. The soldiers replied, Yes, Lord. Vilvina bowed. Young Master Rain, thank you. I'll never forget your kindness. Rain said calmly, Miss Vilvina, we'll meet again very soon. Vilvina was shocked. Meet again? What does he mean? After today, it's unlikely we'll ever cross paths again. Next, Vilvina has brought Grand Duke Castile outside the city. The Grand Duke Castile cursed. That bastard Rain humiliated me. I never imagined I'd have to endure such disgrace because of him. Once I return, I'll tell the Emperor everything he did to me. I'm certain His Majesty will grant me a massive army, and with it, I'll drag that wretch to the ground. I'll show him who I really am. And that girl Rosalind, she dared to strike a Grand Duke. I'll kill Rain first, then I'll deal with her. Vilvina thought in disgust. What a fool. He's already lost once, just walked out of prison a few minutes ago, and he's already ranting about revenge, with no plan, no strategy, just empty words. Suddenly, the carriage jolted violently. The Duke shouted, What's happening? These carriages are worthless. You know how long the journey back is. Why did you choose such poor transport? A Grand Duke deserves better. Annoyed, Vilvina snapped. Even the best carriage will shake on rough roads. There's nothing wrong with it. The Duke glared. What? Are you arguing with me? Have you forgotten who I am? I'm a Grand Duke. Because of you, I'm suffering these jolts. Once we return, I'll make sure to complain about you. Let's see what your empire does to you then. Vilvina thought bitterly, idiot. Think first about what the Emperor will do to you. You lost thousands of soldiers. Our empire's reputation is in shambles. And yet you believe I'll be punished while you're spared? Pathetic. One of the guards interrupted. Miss, it's getting dark. There's a river nearby with fresh water. Should we rest here for the night? Vilvina agreed. Yes, let's stop here. Traveling further in the dark would be dangerous. They dismounted and began setting up camp. The Duke sighed with relief. Finally, after those horrible bumps, I can rest a little. Meanwhile, Vilvina reflected, young Master Rain wanted to recruit me. He didn't care that I was a woman, or that I was from another country. He respected me. Yet in my own empire, I have no value at all. Later that night, the Duke spotted a maid and smirked. You're beautiful. Just looking at you pleases my eyes. Tonight, you'll make me happy. The maid trembled. Please, Grand Duke, let me go. He sneered. Why are you afraid? Being with me is an honor. For one night with me, you'll be rewarded with many favors. She begged again. Please, Grand Duke, I can't. I'm just a servant. Enraged, the Duke slapped her hard. How dare you refuse me? I'm a Grand Duke. Who do you think you are to reject me? Vilvina intervened. Grand Duke, how can you behave like this? Have you forgotten what it means to be a noble? Nobles don't act this way. The Grand Duke snapped back. I'm only doing this with a servant. You're a noble, so this matter doesn't concern you. Stay out of it. But just then, an assassin stepped forward from the side, and suddenly stabbed the Grand Duke Castile. Shocked, the Grand Duke gasped. What just happened? Even Vilvina was stunned, unable to process how, in a single instant, everything had changed. The assassin turns and says, one down. Next is the girl. After I finish you, my mission will be complete. Seeing the assassin, Vilvina and maid panic. They run toward the soldiers, shouting, please help us. The soldiers ask, Miss, what happened? Why do you look so distressed? Vilvina cries. Please help us, there's an assassin here. A soldier replies. What? Assassin? Vice Captain, take your men and search carefully, find out which bastard came here. Vilvina says. The assassin didn't just come, he killed the Grand Duke Castile. What are you doing here? Go check. The soldiers answer. The Grand Duke Castile is dead? We already searched the area, there was no one around. Who could have come and killed the Grand Duke? At that moment the assassin calls out, everyone, gather here. Perfect, you're all together. I won't have to work to kill you one by one. I'll take you out all at once, very easily. The soldiers sneer. You fool, you're standing right in front of us. There are so many soldiers here and you're alone. Do you really think you can get away? If you want to live, surrender and confess quickly. Why did you kill the Grand Duke? The assassin replies. I thought the people of this city were clever, but I was wrong. Only your city lord was smart. The rest of you are idiots. You think you have us surrounded, but in reality you're the ones trapped. There's no escape. Then the assassin shouts, and Orvis Empire forces begin to pour in from all sides. Vilvina, stunned, wonders what's happening. These are the Orvis Empire army. Why are they attacking us? The city soldiers warn everyone to be careful. It seems these bastards planned an ambush on our camp. In seconds many men surround them. The captain asks, what's going on? These men were hiding just outside our city and we didn't know. Why would Orvis Empire's people kill our Grand Duke Castile? What could their motive be? The assassin says, you'll all be dead in 5 minutes. Before I kill you, let me explain why we're doing this. At least you'll get a satisfying death. Because of your wretched city, the Orvis Empire suffered huge losses so great recovery was impossible. Our emperor wanted revenge, but our previous attack was wasted, so there was no reason to start a full-scale war again. To spark war between our countries and escalate the conflict, we eliminated this trash. Vilvina was horrified. I can't believe it. Our own countrymen killed our Grand Duke, the assassin adds. We've only completed half our mission. Until we kill all of you here, our job isn't done. The Grand Duke is dead, but the girl remains. Once we kill her, we'll have a powerful reason to attack you. Unlike last time, we won't be foolish. That's why we will definitely win this war. Vilvina remembers everything she saw but can't believe that her own countrymen could do something so vile. They killed the Grand Duke, and now they want to kill her, all for their own goals, which have nothing to do with this matter. She thinks, can my country's people really sink this low? The assassin continues, believe it or not, everyone present here will die. In 5 minutes your corpses will be lying where you stand. Tonight we'll bury forever the truth that it was we who killed the Grand Duke and our nobles. We will carry out the entire plot, and the blame will fall on you. Poor soldiers, your luck is terrible. Our countrymen have used you as pawns, and your countrymen will insult you for having caused problems for them. Now move out, comrades, finish them. For our Orvis Empire, killing all of you is very important. Vilvina prays silently, Dad, please forgive me. I came to save you, but I failed. I couldn't save you. I only trapped myself. Now there's no way out of this. She remembers her father's warning. Vilvina, whatever happens, never step into our country's politics. Our politics is a place with a way in, but no way back. From the outside it looks wonderful, everyone doing good work and happy, but you cannot imagine how deep the swamp is inside. Vilvina said, Dad, why are you saying this? You're a minister of this country and you work for the people. Looking at you, I don't think politicians are bad people at all. Vilvina's father replies, exactly for that reason. We have all waded into the swamp and dirted our hands. We have no shame and no guilt left. My child, you are a good person, and I would never want someone like you to see the ugly truth of this world. Vilvina says, Dad, I understand now what you were trying to teach me that day. You were right, the politics of this world are truly rotten. Even those who have sacrificed so much for their country get no respect. At that moment Rain arrives and says, these Orvis Empire dogs are getting bolder. They think they can come onto my land and kill my people. You really overestimated yourselves. Vilvina, shocked, recognizes the voice. That's young Master Rain. We see Rain arrive with his army. Rain announces, it seems you forgot, this is my territory. You can't lay a hand inside my lands. Killing those people outright? Not a chance. The soldiers were stunned. How did they get here? One man says. We checked the area before coming. There was no one nearby. How did they reach us? What were we supposed to do? How did they learn about this? Rain replies, your Orvis Empire people are fools. How many times will you guys use the same trick? To be honest, it has become very easy for me to predict your tricks. Vilvina asks, Master Rain, what are you doing here? Rain answers, Vilvina, I thought you were smart, but you've been naive about politics. Did you really believe you were sent here just to bring Grand Duke Castile back? The day Castile lost to us, his death was already written. Vilvina, shocked, replies, what are you saying? You knew what would happen here beforehand? Rain says, yes, I had a good idea. I was certain of one thing. No matter how hard you tried, Castile would never make it straight back to his territory. The Orvis Empire suffered heavy losses because of him. They won't let it go. Trust me, they'll seize this opportunity. Vilvina asks, how did you know all this? You seem to know these people. How could you recognize them just by sitting here? Vilvina also recalls that Rain had promised a meeting earlier. She realizes he might have warned them before about what was coming. Indeed, in politics he is a genius. Rain adds, I also knew that Castile's death would give your emperor a major reason to start a war against us. The assassin says, as I suspected, you really are clever. You knew every one of our plans, But the pity is, even knowing all this, you couldn't stop it. Coming here was a huge mistake. Now we'll be forced to kill you. If we eliminate you, this city will be ours. We'll get everything without starting a full war. Move out, brothers. If we kill this scum, our Orvis Empire will gain glory none have yet received. Rain says, Rosalind, come forward. Show these people what real power looks like. These trash think too highly of themselves. Rosalind stepped forward and shouted, how dare you dogs enter our city? Did you think our soldiers were so weak that you could just walk in? Today, all of you will die by my hands. With that, she began slaughtering the enemy soldiers. As she cut them down, Rosalind mocked, with such little strength, you dared to attack us? Pathetic. The soldiers of the Orvis Empire panicked. What's happening? Is this girl even human? How can one person be so powerful? She's killing all of us alone. Their assassin leader barked. Why are you afraid? She's just one girl, and we are many. If we fight together, she can't stop us. Attack her at once and show her the might of our empire. But before he could act, Rosalind struck the assassin with a devastating blow. She snarled, how dare you interfere in my fight? Seems you're in a hurry to die. With one strike, she split a soldier in half. The assassin was shocked, thinking, how can this girl do such things? She's crushing us like insects. Rosalind's attacks forced the assassin back. He laughed bitterly. That was a strong attack, but not enough to kill me. Rosalind smirked. You're lucky. That strike wasn't meant to kill you. If I had aimed to, you'd already be dead. I'll give you one last chance. Surrender, or die. The assassin sneered. Why would I surrender when I know I can kill you? Rosalind stepped closer. You live in delusion. Let me break it for you. She stomped hard on his shoulder, pinning him down. The soldiers watching trembled. Even our leader can't do anything. If we fight, we'll all die. Another soldier whispered. Now I understand why the Grand Duke lost. These people are monsters. Against them, we stand no chance. Even the assassin thought, I believed I could handle her, but this girl is far stronger than I imagined. No trick of mine can beat her. Rain, observing, thought, Rosalind is an incredible fighter. If I gave her a machine gun and bulletproof armor, she could single-handedly take on entire armies. I'll make sure to prepare that for her in the future. Rosalind turned back to the remaining soldiers. Soldiers of the Orvis Empire, I'll give you one last chance. Drop your weapons and surrender, and we'll spare you. Refuse, and you'll die like your leader. If you believe, like him, that we're not strong enough to kill you, step forward and try. One by one, the soldiers dropped to their knees, pleading, no, we've seen your power. We know we can't stand against you. We surrender. Please, don't kill us. We're just ordinary soldiers, following orders. The assassin cursed them, cowards. How dare you kneel before the enemy? Have you forgotten you are soldiers of the Empire's elite? Our men died before ever dropping their weapons. But it was too late. Every soldier had already thrown down their arms. Rosalind turned to Rain. Young master, I've captured all the soldiers. Rain nodded. Excellent work, Rosalind. I'll take it from here. He then ordered, release the assassin. He's wounded and can't do anything now. Keeping him alive is important. If he dies, our plan won't work. The assassin spat defiantly. If you think I'll reveal anything about my empire, you're mistaken. Torture me. Kill me. I won't beg, and I won't talk. Rain smiled. Kill you? No, my friend, you misunderstand me. I have no reason to kill you. Shocked, the assassin demanded, then why capture me? Surely you intend to kill me. Rain shook his head. Not at all. I intend to use you, to deliver a message. The assassin was stunned. A message? To whom? Who do you expect me to report to? Rain smirked. You really are a fool. Isn't it obvious? You're emperor. The assassin froze, unable to believe it. Rain continued. Yes, I want you to deliver my message directly to your emperor. Didn't he want all of this blamed on us? Very well. If he wishes for that, I'll happily give it to him. Go tell him this. Rain Edgar killed Miss Vilvina and the Grand Duke Castile on the way back. He broke his promise. Rain's eyes gleamed. Make sure he remembers it well. That's the first half of our story. What I say next, you must not forget to deliver. Tell your emperor to listen carefully. Every vile deed the Orvis Empire has committed will soon be punished. Count every sin, every mistake you've made, because young Master Rain will repay them all. I will be the nightmare that robs your emperor of sleep and peace. The assassin, shaken, replied, fine, I'll deliver everything you said. Rain then turned to Vilvina. Miss Vilvina, you'll be coming with us to our city. We'll discuss everything further there. According to the Orvis Empire, you're already considered dead, so there's no point in you going back. That means from now on, you'll be with us. The assassin spat. Rain Edgar, you're overconfident. Your arrogance will be your downfall. Mark my words, you'll regret everything you've done here. Rain glared at him. Before I lose my patience, get out of here. And remember, don't die on the way. I want my message delivered from your own mouth to your emperor. Vilvina worried aloud. You've just handed the Orvis Empire an excuse to attack. Aren't you afraid they'll now use their full power against you? That was their plan all along, and you've just helped them achieve it. Rain smirked. No, I don't fear Orvis Empire. I know they can't harm me. In fact, provoking them was necessary. What I want, only they can give me. No one else can. Shocked, Vilvina asked, and what is it you want so badly from the Orvis Empire? Rain answered plainly, their land, and only their emperor can grant it to me. Vilvina was stunned. Our land? Rain ignored her reaction and ordered Rosalind, take these captured soldiers to the labor office. Assign them work according to their skills. You know how short we are on workers. They can at least be useful there. Rosalind bowed. Yes, young master. Consider it done. Rain then brought Vilvina into the city dungeon. She thought bitterly, as I expected, he's keeping me here to use me as a bargaining chip. They'll hold me in this dungeon until the Orvis Empire comes to attack. Then I'll be used as leverage. Father was right, everyone in this political world is the same. No matter how kind they pretend to be, none of them are different. As they walked, Rain stopped before a large gate. Vilvina muttered, "Now it's clear, you're going to throw me into dungeon, aren't you?" Rain chuckled. "What do you think? Do you really take me for a fool like the others? I know you're talented. Why would I waste that by putting you in dungeon, when you could be helping me in more important work?" They entered a room, and Vilvina gasped, "What is this place?" Rain replied, "This will be your accounting office. From now on, you'll manage all financial accounts here." At that moment, Selena burst into tears. "Young master, please forgive me. I couldn't handle the work you gave me. No matter how much I study these numbers, I can't understand them. My head is spinning. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do." Rain reassured her, "Don't worry, Selena. From now on, the right person is here, an expert at this kind of work. Vilvina, I trust you'll handle everything in this new office and prepare accurate reports." Vilvina thought to herself, "So that's it. He wants me to make fake accounts. But why? Who is he trying to fool?" Rain explained his plan. "In just 3 days, inspectors from the Elf Tribe Group will arrive to review our financial reports. I want you to prepare the documents in such a way that we save money, without them ever realizing it." Vilvina, annoyed, thought, "Unbelievable. Rain Edgar is truly a strange man," and that's where today's episode ends.